peppermint, sorrel, ginger, fever grass, or English. Get it ready. Your morning tea just got hotter.
Ooh, honey child.
On the cold, hard truth. Bobo 89.1 and Cayman's #1 talk show are bringing you morning talk like no one else. Monday Rewind, Impact Wednesdays, Caribbean Connections, and much more. Don't miss a beat with what's happening in the local community. Just keep sipping your tea.
What a mess.
Here's your host, live and direct from the Cayman Islands, Sandy Hill.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I was just saying that I know that you guys miss me. We're going to get into it this morning. We have a lot to cover. What can I say? Oh my. Okay, listen. We've got guests with limited time. Of course, you guys know that today is Tuesday, and Tuesday means that it is Run Down Tuesday. So I see that Dr. Alwyn is actually here in the studio. Dr. Alwyn, are we going to go ahead and start off with you? Or are we waiting on anybody else to arrive? We'll get started. Just give me a thumbs up if we're gonna get started with you. I can see you talking, but I can't hear you unless I bring you into the studio. So let me see here now. So good morning, everyone. I know you guys are very much aware that I missed a few days, but Dr. Alwyn is here and he's a busy man. He's got lots to do. So shall we bring you in? Thumbs up. Okay, let's do it. All right, Dr. Alwyn, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sandy. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm good. I wasn't sure if we were going to wait on anyone else for you to come in, but I know you've got some previous commitments this morning. So I trust that you had a wonderful weekend.
Oh, yes. It was a beautiful weekend. I think the weather was fine, and it was so nice to see so many of the marathoners going about.
Yes. Absolutely. So we're going to be talking about the marathon this morning. So tell us, did you actually participate in the marathon?
No, I did not.
Okay.
My colleague, Dr. Niranjan and Dr. Praveen, and quite a few of the other Health City staff did participate in the marathon. They had a relay team as well.
Right.
And one of our doctors, Dr. Praveen, finished in 2 hours, 11 minutes or something. So it was quite exciting to.
And that's a pretty good finish time, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to get my fitness up to a level where I participate in it here, but I want to do it without adequately being prepared.
Yes, of course. And we know that, having spoken to you guys previously, that's one of the key things is an event like this. You don't want to think that you're a superstar and just go out there and do it for the sake of a social media post. You want to ensure that you are well equipped and you've trained well over a long period of time, so that hopefully they won't need to see you. But I suspect that even the best trained athletes might have a reason to want to give you a call. So let's talk a little bit about what you're expecting to see, if anything, and we're going to talk about some post-marathon tips as well. To make sure that, now people are kind of a couple days out. They're starting to feel the burn. Trust me, I just took a marathon shopping trip to Miami. Not quite the same as running a marathon, but I've got some sore muscles and some aches and stuff now that I didn't have last week. So to a much larger extent, the marathon runners are really feeling it today. I'm sure of that. What are some of the top recommendations for them?
Yeah. I mean, typically after marathon is called marathon for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's largely because it is a big event and it takes a lot of toll on your body and your muscles, your joints, your ligaments. So it's important to, I would say, give yourself a little bit of a break after a long run like that. But keep doing some amount of activity. Don't suddenly stop it, but maybe keep doing. It's a lifestyle habit. Continue. If you were someone who, I mean, there are marathon runners who are professionals who do it, to beat time. that, and then there are others who do it just to get into a kind of a commitment to their fitness kind of thing. And it's important to maybe continue doing some walks and runs over the, and it's probably, I would say, a lifestyle change for them. In watching what you eat, how you control your diet, and that momentum going even long after the marathon. For the more seasoned athletes, I would say stretching and even for the general public, stretching is probably an important thing. Just doing resistance training, stretching, continue to do that, so you'll keep your muscles supple, your joints supple. I think it's important to when someone becomes a part of a challenge like this, and I did it at a gym, at my local gym, and when I participated in the challenge, long after the challenge was over, I continued to eat healthier. I continued to do my exercises and doing that 3 times a week or something, commitment to the gym. So I think it's important to make these things a lifestyle change or habit, so that will keep you going, and maybe next year you could graduate from the half marathon, from the shorter distances to longer distances based on how you feel.
All right, folks. For some reason, Doc, I am hearing a little bit. My apologies, of feedback, and I'm not really sure if it's just on my end. But I do notice when you're speaking, I'm getting some feedback from you, so I'm not really sure what could be causing that.
I could just try switching off my mic and turning it back on, maybe.
Yes, it might be something. Yes, Rhonda said she's hearing it as well. So okay. Yeah, just double check that for me. But I think everyone is still hearing you. It's just that the quality of it is a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So just now you sounded okay, but it's when you were talking for an extended period of time that I was getting some sort of static feedback. All right. Okay. So we do have Rhonda Kelly, who is also joining us along with Shamari Scott this morning. So good morning to Rhonda. Good morning, Shamari. How are you guys doing? We got a lot to cover today, as you can see. I'm back from a mini holiday, so I'm on it. And of course, we know that the runners this weekend were out in full force. So I heard that it was amazing, and you had a fantastic turnout. So Rhonda, tell us a little bit about what the turnout was like in terms of your numbers and how the event actually went.
Oh, it was a really nice morning. We had, I think the total is about 1,000 overrunners. We had about 90 teams. We had over 60 in the full, and we had close to 700 registered in the half. I can't remember the exact number that came out.
Yeah, I'm hearing for some reason. I'm still hearing that feedback as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hearing it. Give me one quick second. Let me try to figure out what's going on. Not quite sure what's. Get that sorted. So give me one quick second. I'm going to just do a quick refresh and see if it's something on my end that we can perhaps just refresh and fix. Yes, I'm not sure what is causing that. I'm trying to see if Chuck can check for me. It's like we've got some static in the studio for some bizarre reason. Very, very different. All right. Shall we push through it this morning and see if there's something we can do in the interim that might get it sorted out? Shamari, good morning.
Good morning, Sandy. How are you?
Not too bad. Thank you so much.
We missed you on air yesterday. We missed you on air.
Yes. I was gone for a couple of days. Lots to catch up on. I must tell you, you missed 2 days worth of a show, and all of a sudden it's like news never stops. So of course, Shamari, did you participate in the marathon? Were you out there doing your
Why,
thing?
why you had to call me out like that, Sandy? No, I did not participate in the marathon. I had my share of cross countries and long distance running earlier in my life, back in high school days and college days and the such. So I have not as yet done a marathon, but seeing as you're calling me out, maybe you and I and Dr. Alwyn need to do it next year, right?
Oh, I think that just backfired dramatically, in fact.
What
Oh
isn't
my
it? What is it?
goodness.
40 by 50? Wasn't that your?
Yeah. No, 50 by 50.
See, I was trying to help you out. 40 by 50, but you've gone to 50 by
Yes,
50.
yes,
So every month we're gonna have to start looking at that target, right? When is
yeah,
because that's late next year, right?
for sure. So what I've
So
just
yeah.
done is, Dr. Alwyn, I've actually muted your mic. I think the source is actually you. I hate to tell you, but now that I've muted it for you in the studio. So if you want to come back in, just unmute yourself because now it's gone. Everybody, I think, is hearing a lot better, right? So we'll try
Yes.
to figure out later on what in your environment could potentially be causing that. But I think we're good now. Yeah. So just
Right.
keep, if you're not in the studio, keep your mic muted for now. Maybe that's the immediate solution.
But
Right. So Dr. Alwyn, folks, is here with Cayman Islands Health City as well as Shamari, and we've got Rhonda Kelly from Kelly Holdings. They're talking about the success of this weekend's event. Again, the marathon was on. I mean, lots of people. I saw pictures all over social media. People posting that they had completed it and they ran, and some did well, and some were just happy that they finished even the half marathon. They were like, "Yes, I did it." So Dr. Alwyn, let's talk a little bit about when those individuals might need to see a sports medicine specialist. So do you just give it a couple days? Do you soak in some Epsom salt for like the first day or so? And are there some things that immediately you should get help for, or do you kind of feel it out to see how your body is going to react over another week or so?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if someone's having, if you've experienced any kind of major pain in any part of your feet or your muscles or knees or other things, then you could give it a few days. Advil of anti-inflammatories could help, and basically hydrate yourself well, and electrolytes. Having those electrolytes, something like a Gatorade or something to replenish your electrolytes is important. Now, if it still persists, so most muscle aches or a little backache or other things would generally subside in a couple of days with a couple of days of rest. But if it continues to persist or continues to get worse, then I think you should see somebody. If you've had an injury, like God forbid, but if you had an injury where you notice a particular part of your body swelling up, a lot of tender Achilles pain or such things, then it's important to consider seeing a specialist. Some sometimes prefer to see a physiotherapist before coming to an orthopedic specialist, but yeah, either ways, it's better to take help if you have something persisting, even say for a week after the marathon.
Right. All right. So give it a little bit. I think your body, we've talked about a lot on this program about just listening to your body. And I think your body will give you an indication if you are in any sort of chronic pain that you need immediate help. So you should be able to tell if it's anything that's that bad. I'm feeling a little bit sore, but nothing kind of chronic going on except my which I already had, which is my tennis elbow. But I ran into someone. There was a lot of Caymanians apparently in Miami this weekend. I couldn't hide from people. Even in Fort Lauderdale, I saw people. And I ran into a family member, and she had torn her Achilles heel apparently, and she was like limping. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, that looks quite serious. That's the sort of injury that they should come in and see you for as soon as possible.
Yes, yes, something like that is better to see earlier than sooner than later. So some of the things could be a chronic injury. You could be having something chronic going on, and then you did the marathon and it worsened. That's also possible. Sometimes tendoachilles tendinitis and inflammatory tendinitis of the tendoachilles predisposes you to develop a tear in the
Right.
tendoachilles. Sometimes it could be a partial tear, then slowly progresses to a complete tear, especially if you have a degenerated tendon. So depending on your age group and things, you have to seek help sooner than.
Mhm. And the other thing I think is probably worth noting is if you know you've had an issue before, of course, I have what Dr. Anthony says, the podiatrist, is sort of a overdeveloped calf muscle, but it doesn't have the elasticity in there that it should. So in other words, it doesn't
Yeah,
necessarily stretch really well. And
yeah,
so then that will cause issues in the feet and the Achilles
yeah,
area, because that area has to work a little bit differently to overcompensate for my calf muscles being so tight. So stretching, even post marathon stretching, and probably the week or two after, continues to be really, really important to
yeah,
continually stretch. And
yeah.
what else can people do sort of on their own? Maybe, like I said, the soaks, stretching,
Yeah.
massage, perhaps.
Massages, yeah. So
Mhm.
myofascial manipulation, we call it. So massages do help, especially for sore muscles, fibromyalgia, those kind of conditions. You could do a local myofascial release, so that would help to ease some of the pains as well.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, with and so calf muscle. Interesting that you brought that up because calf muscle is an anti-gravity muscle. And if you
Mhm.
notice the way your leg is structured, your calf muscle is about 4 times the size of all the muscles in the front of your ankle. So in your
Right.
ankle, a movement downwards and you have a movement upwards. The movement downwards is where
Yeah.
you the big calf muscle, but the movement upwards, those muscles are always at a disadvantage. So you have to keep stretching the calf muscle. That's very important, I think, especially for runners, because
Mhm.
that's a tight, believe it or not. So conditions that you hear of, shin splints,
Mhm.
stress fractures in the tibia, tibialis posterior tendinitis, we call it, in some of the muscles. All these
Mhm.
are because of an over tight calf muscle. And a simple
Wow.
thing like stretching the calf muscle helps you eliminate all those problems and
Hmm.
also in the treatment of some of those problems. So we always say it's like a bowstring effect. So you imagine your tibia as a bow, and the calf muscle is a string, and it's kind of always pulling the bow in one direction. So you need to stretch it out
Mhm.
so that the contralateral group of muscles, the opposite group of muscles, are able to contract and balance the forces in the leg. So yeah, calf muscle stretching is probably one of the most important things for marathon runners and runners in general.
Wow. So, I mean, a pretty big muscle, and turns out to be extremely important as well.
Yes,
And
because
the advice that I've gotten, I'm not going to pretend to be an athlete in this life.
yeah,
But the
no,
advice that I've gotten from Dr. Anthony is I should be stretching every single day as
yes,
often as I possibly can.
yeah,
Because I've just got genetically, overdeveloped calf muscles. And people, it's so funny, Doctor Alwyn. People see you and they actually think I've been to the gym when they see my calf muscles. They're like, "Oh, you've got such great calf muscles. Like people get implants to have calf muscles like that." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" But there's always that downside sometimes of having a certain genetic makeup, is
yeah,
that you've got to know what comes with it, and kind of how sometimes you've got to offset certain things that Mother Nature has given you. So
true,
constant stretching helps, I suppose, whether it's underdeveloped or overdeveloped or whatever. Just stretching that really important muscle is extremely important.
yeah.
So, do you tend to see, after a big event like this, do you tend to see your bookings go up?
Um, Sometimes, yeah. I mean,
Mhm.
in some cases, yes. I mean, I think a lot of people do go to physiotherapists, maybe massage therapists, and if it doesn't improve, then they do come back. So I have had patients who have after a marathon injury and coming to me, but generally, maybe within the next 2, 3 weeks or so, I have
Mhm.
seen a few of them reach out for help if they had any chronic issues.
Right. And speaking of that, Shamari,
Okay.
that means, of course, that your team is on it and you're going to be offering some special services to people who might need orthopedic assistance. So let's talk about the upcoming free orthopedic consult, which
Definitely.
is available for the marathon runners, because this is fantastic. It's a great idea.
Yeah, so just to reverse a little bit, well, in regards to the executive committee that I was with at the Department of Tourism previously, when the marathon first started, we understood the importance of the marathon. I mean, when it was in its inception, obviously there was a little war room type of discussion about how
Mhm,
important is it? Should we sponsor it? Will it be
mhm,
successful? Luckily, the right decision was made, and Department of Tourism decided to get behind it. Due to many things, right? The fact that it was during that little lull after Thanksgiving and just before Christmas. So, from a tourism perspective, there's a little lull that first week in December. So, it would help to fill in that lull in December. Two, you get marathon runners from all over the world, right? So, you
mhm,
get to showcase the Cayman Islands through photos, social media, through news articles from some of the runners that would be coming as well. And the fact that it's in such a beautiful location right next to the beach, think of all the images that go worldwide about the marathon. And then when I transitioned over to Health City, the fit still aligned in regards to the
mhm,
fact that with Dr. Alwyn and his team of orthopedists, from a sports medicine perspective, we want one, healthy living, healthy lifestyles, obviously activity, running, marathons fit with that pre scenario where you're trying to keep people healthy so they don't have to come to the hospital. And
mhm,
then obviously, if they need to come to the hospital with an injury, we have a full slew of physicians and an integrated team with all the technology possible to be able to help them on the back end if needed.
mhm.
And this partnership with the marathon, from a Health City perspective, has been going on 6 years now. Am I correct, Rhonda? I think it's 6 years. Yes, she
Yes.
said 6 years. Um, and
Mhm,
every year we just take it from strength to strength, whether it's pre-marathon, going on the radio, but also speaking to the persons who are going to partake in the marathon, tips and
mhm,
tricks and what you should and shouldn't do. And obviously Rhonda knows all of these things too, like not buying new shoes that you've never run in before the day
mhm.
of, to think that that's going to help you to run faster. Run in the
Right.
shoes that you've always run, and the proper types of stretching, etc. And then
Mhm,
last year was the first time we thought, and we said, you know what? Why not after the marathon is done? The majority won't need it. But if you have an issue, we're going to give you a free consult with our orthopedic team up to 6 months after the marathon for everybody who has signed up. So everybody who signed up and partook in the marathon will be able to get a free consult if needed with one of our orthopedists, Dr. Alwyn included. And then obviously we've come closer to you so you can come to Camana Bay to see them if you don't want to travel. It's only 30, 35 minutes up the road, but we know that people think you're driving to Miami at times. But
mhm,
if you want to
mhm.
see Dr. Alwyn and the team, you can see them in Camana Bay or in East End. And that was just extending the partnership further to ensure that we're giving some added value to all of the persons who would have taken part in the marathon.
Mhm. Fantastic. Well, let's just make sure that people know, of course, how they can take advantage of this amazing opportunity. So, again, this is a special offer for the 2022 Cayman Islands Marathon participants at Cayman Islands Health City. And it's free orthopedic consult, and you can get in on this. And I think this is fantastic. So, whether or not you have an injury, you're experiencing chronic pain, or you have issues after the run, or issues just walking, even now, this is going to be a wonderful opportunity. And it's a $259 package normally, folks. That's quite a decent savings. And we love free stuff on this show, as you guys know. So this is going to be an appointment with one of their orthopedic consultants. All come with amazing credentials on just had to, perhaps, whether you're going to need some sort of a treatment program, surgery, if you need to see the physiotherapist or anything else, you start with orthopedic surgeon and they can kind of refer you from there. So you present this voucher. We'll stick this up, I'm sure, on social media. at the time of your reservation. Tell us a little bit more, Shamari, about how they can make sure that they go through the correct process to redeem this opportunity.
Yeah. So they really just need to go through info@healthcity.ky and just outline that they ran in the marathon. They have their coupon or certificate. It's not really a flyer that they have that with
Mhm.
them, and we'll book it in. And then when they arrive, they just need to hand that to the receptionist when they arrive.
Mhm.
So it's really easy.
Fantastic.
You can call 640-4040, or you can email info@healthcity.ky with marathon in the subject line, but just also indicate that you ran in a marathon and you would like to avail yourself of the free consult. You can do that before June 4th.
Wonderful. All right, folks, this is fantastic. Like I said, nothing beats free. And this is really a great opportunity. So, Dr. Alwyn, we also know that you've got some other things coming up into the new year. So I'm sure we'll speak to you probably not long after the new year. But we are aware that you are in a little bit of a tighter schedule today. Do you have a little bit more time to spend with us, or?
Yeah, maybe another 4 or 5 minutes I should
Okay.
be.
All right, no worries. Sounds good. So Shamari was mentioning that there are people who come in from all over the world to participate in this event. So undoubtedly, they would be, very, very pleased to hear that they have world-class service right here in the Cayman Islands. They don't have to wait until they go back home. Recently we had the Cayman Classics. I'm sure Shamari, you saw them here.
Yes, yes.
The basketball event. Lots of pro, not quite pro, but pro in the collegiate terminology. Basketball players, amazing. I saw them, between games. As soon as they finished the game, they were back on the court stretching. They were using their little what are those rollers, working it out and stretching it out, and doing all sorts of movements that I found incredibly interesting to kind of prepare them for when they get on. It's not just about shooting in that hoop. It's about making sure that you stay injury free and you're able to, I saw them doing like the cross, like running backwards and then trying to cross the legs, which is very, like, the brain gets a little bit like, okay, this is a more complex movement that I need to work my head around. But I also thought at the time, isn't this wonderful that we have literally thousands of people from overseas, tons of basketball players, but they can avail themselves of services right here in the Cayman Islands, world-renowned services, without having to go anywhere should they need to see an orthopedic surgeon.
Oh, definitely, and Dr. Alwyn will speak to it as well. But even previously, we would have had one of the marquee physicians, orthopedists that actually would have taken care of a lot of NFL players and even persons who know Alabama University football team. Well, that's one of the best football teams in the obviously in the U.S., but it's football, American football, so in the world. And those orthopedists have had conversations with Dr. Alwyn, looked at all the work that we've done here, and they're blown away as well. So, we can hang our hats with the best in the world, and that's why the Cayman Islands is such a unique place. We have, obviously, from a financial services perspective, tourism perspective, and now from a healthcare perspective, we're all batting above our weight, and we can hold our own when it comes to world-class institutions throughout those industries.
Yeah. To add to what Shamari just said, Sandra, I've had a lot of physicians who visited us over the years, including Dr. Andrew from Andrew's group. He's the sports medicine, American Institute of Sports Medicine person, and he's incredibly knowledgeable and a great mentor. And he came down. He saw our facility, and he was quite amazed at some of the work that me and my colleagues were doing. And he had, but this was about 6 years ago, I think. And ever since we've had a collaboration with Andrew's group, some of my colleagues, I have sent them over to American Institute of Sports Medicine. We've had them come down and look and see and watch us and discuss academics. I've been a part of the Caribbean Orthopedic Association as well. And this at this year's Caribbean Orthopedic Association meeting, some of I showcased some of the work we've done at Health City, and I think there was a couple of shoulder cases that I presented, and we did in joint replacements as well, in managing complex revision surgeries, in knee surgeries. So seeing that kind of work being done in the Caribbean was something that blew away a lot of the visiting surgeons from United States and Colombia and other places as well. So we are slowly, at least in the orthopedic fraternity, we have a standing as being one of the most professional and advanced centers doing some really complex surgeries and patients along the way. So I've had colleagues across the Caribbean refer me cases that they cannot manage or have a problem or needs a high expertise for shoulders, for knees. I've had a lot of patients from within the island. I mean, in Cayman Islands, it's a small island, but there's a lot of sports that happen here. You look at the football leagues, you look at the flag football, you have Gaelic football, you have rugby, you have so many, and there are some really top level athletes. And a few years ago, we had one of the rugby players had a shoulder that had dislocated about 100 times, and we did a procedure known as the arthroscopic lateral J procedure, which was one of the first times that the Pascal Boileau technique that I had used in this part of the world. And he has gone, not only recovered from the issue, but he is now coaching, and he is a part of the national team. And I think he is playing he is playing in this weekend's match against Mexico. 4 years, and for him to recover and go back to playing sports at that high level after a surgery, that's what sports surgery has graduated to now, compared to earlier where you just wanted to get back to some kind of function. Right now, I have athletes who want to have that procedure done, or this one, to help them to get back into sports. So ACL reconstructions, meniscus repairs, complex ligament injuries, shoulder dislocations, shoulder cuff repairs. So we are doing some of the most advanced stuff, and we recently had the 4K arthroscopic tower that was installed, which is an advanced piece of technology that helps me to do the arthroscopic surgeries much faster, better. This one, with less tissue edema and a faster recovery for patients. So we've, I think, accomplished quite a lot over the years. I think it'll be a whole day if I continue.
And Sandy, just to mention that when persons hear Dr. Andrews, if you're not, in the sports field, you may not comprehend the expertise of a Dr. Andrews that would have come and seen Dr. Alwyn. But just to give you examples of athletes he would have operated on: Roger Clemens, Drew Brees, Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, right? Jack Nicklaus, John Smoltz, Brett Favre, Chris Gooden, Chase Young, Adrian Peterson, to name a few. So if you know basketball, football, or baseball, you will recognize one of those names. Sorry, go ahead, Dr. Alwyn.
Shumari, is Tommy Jones. He's the one who came up with the concept of doing a ligament reconstruction on the elbow to fix the pitcher, Tommy Jones. So
Tommy John, the Tommy John surgery.
Pardon?
The Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, Tommy John.
Yeah.
He was the guy he was the surgeon who engineered that surgery.
Yeah, so that was a surgery that previous to having that surgery, once you tore that muscle, it was over. Your career was done. And that technique allowed pitchers to be able to continue their careers after having that surgery. And the one that Dr. Alwyn was just speaking about with the artificial latter J, that was something that would allow the rugby player to be able to continue not only coaching, obviously, but playing, because without that and the amount of dislocations, it wouldn't have been possible to continue. So just examples of the levels of expertise we have within Health City, and obviously all the great work that Dr. Alwyn and his team are doing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely impressive for sure. So thank you so much, Dr. Alwyn, for joining us this morning. We appreciate that you are indeed a very busy man. So go off and see some clients, why don't you? Make somebody feel better this morning, a marathon runner. All right, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, Dr. Alwyn.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Shamari, Rhonda. Pleasure.
Bye, Dr. Alwyn.
Take care. All right, folks, and this segment is not over yet. We've got more coming up. So good morning to Melita. We see Miss Morna is here. Miss Ruby's in the house. She says, good morning, my CMR family. Hey, fam. Bonnie is here saying, good morning, Sandra, and the listening public. We've got Olivia. Miss Alba's checking in saying, buenos dias, Sandy. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy bien. Olivia, good morning. Lizette. Omeria is here. Miss Faye, so good to see you guys. Some usual suspects. Miss Wee Wee and Felicia. Barbara. Stephen joining us all the way from the UK. Stephen, how are you? Of course, Marshall is normally in North Carolina, but I think he's been vacationing recently. And tons more listening on the radio and on the live stream between Facebook and YouTube. So thank you very, very much, folks, for joining the program. So let's talk a little bit about, in addition to, the marathon event that happened this weekend, Kelly Holdings does a lot of organizing of events. And so there's one undoubtedly that is very, very special and near and dear to Rhonda's heart today. So Rhonda, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about this next event, which I was just looking at the logo and it's beautiful. So it's the Addison Kelly 5K run. Now, for those who may not know, Addison, was your daughter. And I don't know how much you're comfortable sharing about that situation, but tell us sort of the background behind this event.
Okay. Well, Addie, so we're doing it in February in honor of her. It'll be a year in February. There's obviously several parts to it. We're partnering with the Alex Panton Foundation. Jane and Wayne are close. I'm close with them, and obviously we have a bond now that I'm sure nobody would like to share. We decided to do this. The event is actually leading as a fundraiser for a scholarship fund that we're doing in partnership with the foundation. Okay. The scholarship is for a Caymanian to go off and study something in the mental health field. That was something that Addie wanted to do. We found a lot of things on her computer where she was researching schools that she wanted to go to study. She had told the facility that she went to, and they were all thrilled. She wanted to be either a psychologist or a psychiatrist, wanted to go into that field and help others that were experiencing what she was experiencing. So we thought this was a fitting tribute to her to do the scholarship fund. So the 5K on February 4th is to raise funds for that scholarship fund, and obviously also within that is to help educate people. Addie was diagnosed with depression and PTSD from sexual trauma she experienced between the ages of 8 and 10, and that had obviously a lasting impact. And that's an important thing for me, because I would feel bad talking about this if I thought that she didn't want me to, but I know she wanted me to. She was very adamant about her story being told and wanting people to know what she went through and things that she struggled with. So I feel comfortable talking about it because of that. And she wanted me to. I know she wants me to tell people about what she struggled with. So she was diagnosed with PTSD and depression, and then subsequently also with borderline personality disorder, which is a very serious illness. And that was one of the things that she was being treated for. So I would like to, over the course of the time up to the event, to actually take some time and educate people on what borderline personality disorder is, or borderline personality traits, because there's a bit of controversy at a person being under 18 and being diagnosed with that. So it's, and the facility where she was at, there was a lot of studies being done on that, on borderline personality disorder. And obviously depression, people know a lot about depression. Her depression was caused by her PTSD. So there's a lot of layers. And then, you know, she also had some other issues. She had ADHD, which in females manifests itself quite differently than in males. So there was that issue, because it can also affect, you know, all of these things affect relationships. And when you're a teenager, it's all of these different layers of things that come together to make this, you know, make everything more difficult. And so I do want to take the time over the course of the time leading up to really hopefully educate parents. Like I said, sexual abuse is a big one for me, and I don't want to cause anybody to get upset, so I don't want to talk too much about it in the context of not actually warning people. But I do want parents to be aware of their child's surrounding stuff, and I hope to do more on educating that side of things to prevent that from happening to anybody else as well. So that's a big one for me as well. But yeah, I think it's all to honor her. I mean, I read a book shortly after called Finding Meaning, the sixth stage of grief. And that really kind of solidified for me that I needed to find meaning. And that's, sorry, I'll let Shamari talk.
I listen, you know, Shamari and I are both parents, obviously, and you know, we can only partially understand maybe some of what you've endured, but you know, your family has been through a lot, and it's just amazing that you can even talk about it, to be honest. But you know, I think as a community, we're definitely here for you, and I'm so glad that you are finding, as you said, a meaningful way to not allow her life to her light to because I didn't know Addie, but I mean, from what I've seen of her, the photos and so forth that you shared, she just seemed like she was really an amazing person, despite all of what she was going through, which is just, to me, I think, you know, had she not had that trauma, imagine what could have been, you know. But of course, and it's just a difficult situation. So we appreciate you sharing. And I must tell you, Rhonda, that even during her service, I was so touched by the fact that you didn't hide what this was all about. And you were just very, very upfront. And I think in a community where a lot of us are not ready to deal with these type of issues, it was an eye opener, and it was a real stark reality for people. That level of honesty. I mean, I've definitely not seen anything like it on this island, for sure. And it's something that people struggle with. You know, recently I was speaking to a friend of mine who is a survivor of abuse as well as a teenager. And, you know, now she's a woman and she's married in a relationship and she's a child, but it still seeps through her life. And there are moments when, you know, she's got to go to therapy. She's got to get some help, because it's one of those things that you just never get over. And I think, you know, for someone who's advocated on behalf of victims for as long as I possibly can and will continue to do so, I think people need to understand the burden that is placed on survivors. And, you know, we really have to stamp this out in our communities. And the only way we're going to do that is to talk about it. There's no other way. You know, we've got to be.
And I will say it's not easy, and I understand. Obviously, being in the position that I was in, I understand the small community and the need to want to protect people and certain people. But being on this side of what we've gone through, I realize that, it's mistakes are made. You feel like you want to do the best that you can, but sometimes that is difficult, because of not wanting to hurt people and not wanting to embarrass people, or, you know, things that I look back now and think, that compared to what we've gone through, it was, but it's hard when you're in that. So that's what I hope to do. And like I said, I have to do it in the context that I'm mindful of people, and that I don't want to upset people and bring things up and all that kind of stuff. We have to think about things like that. So I want to do it in a context where people are warned and they know what the subject is, and then we can have frank conversations once people are ready. But that is the goal, is to hopefully prevent this from any other family going through this. And I know that's the Alex Panton Foundation's goal, and that's why it's that no one wants anybody to go through this.
And I know I briefly messaged you afterwards and said, whenever you're ready, just let me know. So I'll say that again. Whenever you're ready, just let me know.
Yes.
Because I think you guys are amazing. And this is an amazing event. So again, it's the Addison Kelly Butterfly, my apologies, 5K. The logo is beautiful. I love it. So tell us about the symbolism in the logo, the colors, and what all of that mean.
Well, Addie loves butterflies, and that's why at her service we use the butterfly, and that's been representative of her. That's kind of, she was a free spirit. She was a special kid in all ways. The purple and the teal are suicide prevention colors, and suicide awareness. So that's why we've chose those colors. And purple was her favorite color. So that works out well. We've done some really beautiful shirts with butterflies across them, a full sublimation shirt, and so that the shirts will be very pretty. And we've got medals. We're creating butterfly medals. And I've already gotten several people. Health City has committed to supporting in some way, as well as Cineco, and a few others have already committed in helping. So we're looking forward to raising a lot of funds for the scholarship, having education happen up to the event, and having a really nice morning that morning. We're also opening a virtual option because a lot of my daughter's friends, they're in the US and they want to support from there. So we're doing a virtual. The support the community has been great all along. I mean, I've felt so loved. I've felt prayed for. I know that the community has they've been amazing, and going through something like this is, and you're 12 years on, I know that the Pantons are still going through it. It's not something you go through and you're done. It's not ever going to be done. So I think having the community that knows what you've been through and supporting is just, it's so important. And we're so blessed to live in a community like we do.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So you mentioned that you're going to have it live streamed. What platform can we volunteer? The CMR platform as well to help to
live stream the walk?
No, you were saying that there's going to be an online component. Did I just misunderstood that part?
Oh, the virtual. Well, the virtual is just you can do the event wherever you are. A virtual.
Oh, I got it. My apologies.
Yeah,
I got it.
Yeah,
so if the actual, like if someone in Florida or in California or even in Europe, they want to participate, you're going to have them sort of join in that way. Okay, I got it. Oh, okay.
And just to say, Sandy, as soon as we heard that this was happening, Health City was on board right away. Just understanding the importance, and obviously working with Ron and the marathon all these years, they always do a first-class job. They're always giving, obviously, of their time and looking to help with charitable areas. So the fact that this is close and near and dear, obviously, to Ron, and it's for a great cause. Health City was on board from day one, and we'll have those conversations to see exactly what's needed. Whether from a sponsorship perspective or otherwise, Health City will definitely be there, knowing that even within the context of the Cayman Islands, mental health is probably one of those areas, whether it comes to insurance coverage and or having enough professionals to be able to cover the need. There is some growth that needs to happen in that area. So if this can also help, with one of the future professionals, we definitely want to be there for this as well. And just to echo what you're saying, Rhonda and your family are so brave. I can't even imagine, speaking the way you speak for so long without getting emotional. I don't think I could make it 2 minutes. So hats off to you, and we know it's for a greater cause, and that's what gives you strength.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim in the comment section says relatable. Morning to Maria. Miss Mornes says, Miss Rhonda, you're really an amazing and a strong woman. Blessings as always. And Rhonda, you don't always have to be strong.
Oh, I'm not.
Okay.
There are a lot of times when I'm not.
Lean on those around you for sure.
Yeah. There are a lot.
So good morning to Cindy, who's also joining us. So folks, again, if you're joining us a little bit late this morning, we're talking about the Addison Kelly Butterfield 5K 2023 event, which is upcoming early next year. Just give us the dates again, Rhonda, of the actual 5K.
February 4th is the date of the walk run. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And then what's going to be the location? Do we have
we're Cayman Bay has given us a nice 5K course, so we're doing it there. And I wanted to do it somewhere where we could have like a breakfast afterwards, and we can have the Alex Panton Foundation there with information, and potentially some other people to talk about other areas, as I've mentioned, some of the areas where Addie struggled, and I'm sure there are other kids and parents that are dealing with similar situations. So yeah, to make it a full educational thing, but to have a full morning. So yeah, Cayman Bay kindly has given us a nice 5K route.
Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. All right, good stuff. And then tell us how people can go about getting registered for the event.
So there is a Facebook page, but they can also go on the Alex Panton Foundation, and there's a drop-down menu for the scholarship, and it links to how to register to the walk on that. So Alex Panton Foundation.ky has all the, you'll see in the initiatives, it has the Addison Kelly Memorial Scholarship, which is where everything is housed under there. But we have Addie had a Instagram where she had a lot of followers, so we've taken that over and we've renamed that Remembering Addie. So we post a lot of things there and use that as a communications tool, and it's a lot of her friends and a lot of people who knew her. So we use that, and we have a Facebook page. So yeah, so they can find us there
for the Facebook page. And we're also going to make sure that we put that in our community calendar, CMR community calendar as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would also like to say a little shout out to Health City about their help on marathon morning, because I know that Dr. Alwyn talked a little bit about what you did, but as an organizer, having them at the event was so, it makes things a little, the stress a little less, knowing that we have medical professionals right there at the finish line. We had some people that finished in 7 hours. 60, I think he's 63 years old. He was out there for 7 hours, and it was, the Health City guys were still there, and we had the doctors make sure they were at the finish line when a couple people finished that were going to be struggling at the end. So yeah, it was just, they were great. They were there, they had their medical tent, they were ready to deal with anything that happened. And yeah, it gives us a real level of comfort. And not to mention, I think it was about 50 people you guys had running in the event, Shamari, between all the teams and all the halves and stuff. So it was a full Health City morning, and then all their kids ran in the kids fun run. So yeah, it was really good.
All right. And we do have some messages coming in here. Here's Chris. Chris says, Health City is the best, great experience with the facility, the staff and the medical expertise. They offer a great show and very important topic. Thank you so much, Chris. Miss Corrine says, good morning, all. I'll be there on February the 4th, God's willing, along with my running buddies. So Corrine, as you guys may know, is part of a running group. And this is one of the things in our 50 by 50 plan. We're going to be kicking off in earnest for sure next year. But trying to form communities. You've got neighborhoods and people perhaps in your immediate area that you can walk with. I saw one of my neighbors running last night, and I thought, yes, I should be joining her soon. But, have an event like a 5K to kind of train and get ready for, I think is a good precursor to some longer events and just to kind of kicking off the year in a very, very positive way. And this is a fantastic opportunity, obviously, to just, remember Addie and the legacy that she has left behind, which has really been amazing. So Rhonda, thank you so much for telling us a little bit about this event. Folks, I have put the link in the comment section, the Facebook page. Just if you are on Facebook, you can also just look up Addison Kelly Butterfly 5K, and you can get registered for this. Again, it's Saturday, the 4th of February at 6 a.m. in the morning at Cayman Bay. Forum Lane and the Paseo is where they're going to start. Registration is available online. Those of you who are overseas and also want to participate, please know that you can honor Addison by also doing it in your own communities, no matter where you are in the world. So this is fantastic. Yeah. All right. Anything else, Rhonda, on this that you'd like to mention about the event?
No, I'm just, thankful for all the support. We're going to do a little increase on December 31st to try and encourage people to register this month so we can get some numbers, because obviously we have to order everything. So
right, absolutely. Yeah. And will you send me your flyer details so we can make sure that we share that and put that up as well? Yes, so folks, this is a fantastic event. Thank you, Cayman Islands Health City Cayman Islands, for supporting this, and all the other NPOs and community efforts that they're involved in. It's really, last week we were talking about the importance of, I think on Wednesday, of good corporate citizens. And this just highlights why it's so important. And we want to be part of the success of this and many other initiatives that really help our community. Shamari?
No, definitely. And just once again, Rhonda, thank you and your team for all that you do. And we're delighted to be a part of the marathon, 6 years running, and look forward to grow with you as you continue to grow and expand. And then obviously with the new walk run that you'll be putting on for a special cause, we look forward to being involved in that in the future. And Sandy, as always, great to be on here. Whenever I'm not on, people let me know.
Yes.
So that means people are definitely listening. And good morning, Cayman, and look forward to seeing you over the Christmas, Sandy. We'll be here next week. I think that might be our last one before the Christmas. I can't recall. I have to look at the schedule.
But well, we're here right up until the 24th, folks. And we got lots of prizes and giveaways for you.
So we need to give you some of those prizes as well, so you can give to your audience.
Absolutely. We love a good prize.
Definitely. Look forward to next week, and I think it's either next week or the week after, but we'll check the schedules and have some important gifts for our last day in studio. Yes,
sounds wonderful. Love it. Thank you so much, Shamari. Again, with Health City Cayman Islands, he is the Chief Business Officer, and of course Rhonda Kelly, who's the Chief Executive Officer for Kelly Holdings. And earlier we had Dr. Alwyn Almeida, who's a Senior Consultant Orthopedic Surgeon. And Dr. Alwyn, just amazing. And you guys should check him out if you require those services. So again, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, Sandy.
All right, folks. And don't forget now, our next conversation coming up is all about physicians who lie. Oh, what you saying, Bobo? Yes, honey child. We're going to have to get on that conversation. But before we do so, let's take a minute to take a brief commercial break and hear this message from CUC. Now, CUC has been very, very busy on a number of initiatives, including what they say is their road to renewables. Now, this is quite interesting, so pay attention, folks.
Renewables are very important to CUC. The environment's going to benefit, the customers are going to benefit.
It is the future. It's not a matter of if it's coming, it's when.
We can't stop. We do need the change.
Really, really excited to talk about how we're going to get a lot of renewable energy on the grid.
We have been working on bringing renewable energy to Grand Cayman for many years now and produced our integrated resource plan back in 2016.
Looking at how we can most effectively not only get renewable energy but reduce the CO2 impact of CUC's operations. You hear The comments or the misnomers that CUC is married to diesel, and quite frankly, that there couldn't be anything that's further from the truth. We know that renewable energy is the right thing to do.
There's a lot of value by using renewable energy, battery energy storage within your integrated grid. A lot of time has to be put together to do your research, understand what it is that you're wanting to put out there.
CUC has the ability to lead that transition, right? And be the first for not only Cayman, but the region.
It's going to be so worth it. It's what I come to work for every single day. To know what we're working on is going to set the country up for success. It's going to be a foundational element of the economy.
Bringing the public along with us is one of the key things to make a success out of it.
To make sure that we're doing our part to reach those United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Our team has been equipped, trained, developed. If we get a go-ahead tomorrow, we start.
And I see it in the future, it's not that far away. It could be as little as 5 or 6 years away, where we'll have times of the day where we are 100% renewable.
All right, folks, welcome back to the program. So we're going to talk a little bit about, all right. Sorry, a bunch of distractions. So let's talk a little bit before we get into the physicians who've been less than honest with us. Let us first talk a little bit about what I was up to, because I know y'all were missing me and I was missing you too, honey chill. So listen, I took a quick little trip away and I have just plugged in the phone. It was completely dead. So let me just make sure that's connected. You guys can call in to the program. Yes. And join us this morning. So let me just make sure that the mic is on and you guys are able to call into the board. Very good. Beautiful. Looks good. So decided to just take a quick trip. 'Tis the season, folks. What can I tell you? Christmas is right around the corner. I had to get prizes and surprises for all of you and had to pick up a few things for the fam. And, run a few errands. I was supposed to be getting my new studio computer, but it turns out that wasn't there, despite the fact that Amazon claimed it was supposed to be delivered on Friday. But these things happen. We'll leave that alone. Cayman Airways was getting on my nerves yesterday when I was traveling back. I'll tell you all about that a bit later on, maybe on tomorrow's program. But all in all, it was a very successful trip. I got a lot done and I was busy as a bee. So busy as a bee, meaning I was running all over the place, y'all. I mean, my poor little feet are tired. My bonket tired. My legs tired. I need to be stretching this morning like Dr. Al said this morning. And I just need to, Dr. Alwyn said, you need to stretch. You need to soak. You need to do whatever. I feel like my feet need a good Epsom salt soak later on this evening. So got to get in recovery mode. Imagine getting tired from shopping, but I was doing a lot of walking. You know what I'm saying? Carrying bags and walking. It's a lot on the body. What can I say? And some of these malls, my God, they're supersized. So there I was in Broward Mall. I actually stayed most of the time in Fort Lauderdale. And I was actually on a phone call in the food court, and I had this Jamaican lady walk up to me and said, "Hey, miss, are you Sandy? Sandy from the Cayman Islands?" I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Yes, my mom says she watches you," and her mom was with her. I just had to laugh. And I said, "Yeah, that's me." Listen, I expect to see people in Miami because, Caymanians. We go to like the same 5 spots in Miami all the time, but all the way in Fort Lauderdale, you kind of almost felt a little bit safe going to Fort Lauderdale and that you wouldn't really run into anyone. But there you have it. The most, bizarre thing. In Broward Mall, there I am just standing up in the food court on a call and somebody recognized me. You can't hide. You can't hide. So on Saturday, I spent a good part of Saturday in Fort Lauderdale because I keep not in Fort Lauderdale, my apologies, in Miami, because I keep a mailbox in the Miami area. And of course, saw my cousin leaving the mailbox, saw another person. She's like, "Oh boy, you can't hide from Mall Road. Mall Road all over the place." And I said, "Yes, honey, chill. We all over." And then I went shopping at Dolphin Mall. And in the shop, I only went in one store in Dolphin Mall. And of course, I saw Caymanians, because y'all know we all shopping at the same places too. So there you have it. It was great. Good weekend. Spent it with some family. Marlon's got family that lives in Fort Lauderdale. They grew up in the States and everything. So it was kind of interesting because I took them some patties. Big shout out as well to Island Taste patties, because I ordered a couple patties. They told me, hey, now when you travel with patties, they're cooked, they're frozen, so you won't have any issues getting through with customs with these. And yeah, everything was good. They had some cocoa bread. I took them some bun and cheese. They don't always get these things as easily, but child, they were all into. And of course, Cayman's number one export, I had to take them some rum cakes as well. And so I took the 6-pack with all the different flavors. And they said, you brought us rum cake before. We had like the chocolate and the original. But now, Christine was saying now that she's tasted all the different flavors, she really likes the key lime. And I was like, really? I don't think I've ever tried the key lime. So I got to go and get a sample of that key lime rum cake and see what we're talking about. But yeah, they loved all that island flavor stuff. They were trying to cook. One of the cousins, her daughter, was trying to cook some curry chicken. Child, I had to step in and rescue that curry chicken because somebody supposedly taught her how to cook curry chicken. I was like, no, Didi. I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be, but this not no curry chicken. Oh man, she put too much water in it. And it was like watered down. I was like, oh, child, let me try and rescue your curry chicken. You need some good, start chopping this up for me. Chop up my onions, get my scallions, get my bell pepper. I mean, like, oh, I was like, girl, hand me that curry. Hand me the curry and I'm going to help you out now. So by the time we were finished with it, it's more like shredded curry, but it still worked out in the end. And one of their sons, he's so funny. He's like, but my chicken has bone in it. I was like, honey child, chicken is supposed to have bone. Curry chicken is supposed to have bone. This ain't no breast stuff going on here. So I said, yes, you use the bone when you cook curry chicken. I said, y'all have lost your Caribbean-ness. Ah, man, you need to be sucking on a little chicken bone. And, I'm not going to be, now I might suck on it a little bit, but I'm not going to be one of them biting it and chewing it up and eating it. We're not going that far with it. But yes, some of these kids have lost their connections to the region. So we need to reintroduce them to that little bit of Jamaica and Cayman flavor, So all in all, it was a really successful weekend. Got a few things sorted out for you. If you're on my special list of 5, you know who you are, and you know that Santa will be taking care of you as usual this Christmas. So I'll have to sort out when I can actually go back to get what kind of the main thing that I was going for, which was a studio computer. Hopefully it'll eventually show up. I don't know if there's a shortage on some part or something, and they're trying to still work it out. All right. Good morning to Miss Darlene. Good morning to Lavana. And I know all of you were very much wondering where I was. So we did a pre-recorded show on Friday with Miss Mary. I got tons of positive feedback, Miss Mary Lawrence. I should say the Honorable Mary Lawrence, former Speaker of the House. Lots of positive feedback on that. She took us through a very detailed tour of the Nurse Josie Center there in Boddentown. And all of you were like, Sandy, all kids need to do this. I mean, it's just such an amazing event. Well, it should be an event because all y'all should be going. But we did the tour with her, and so we made it one of her Cayman Voices segment. Big shout out to so far our only sponsor for that segment, which is the DART organization. And yes, I see someone messaging me. She this individual has placed herself on my top 5 list, on the friendship list, and she now has promoted herself not once but twice. So she's gone from 5 to 4, and now she says she is skirting right into the number 3 position. Imagine the cheekiness of her. Honey, chill. Ooh, she says number 3 skirting right in. And trust me when I tell you, you kind of want to be in my top 5 because I am the best gift giver ever. I love this time of year because I'm a giver. You know, everybody talks about their love languages, you know, about this whole love language thing. Well, my love language is, you know, I love you when I give you something. Even if it's just a little piece of chocolate, child. You're like, oh, Sandy got a little special place in her heart for me because she gave me a little tips of chocolate. I love to give. I think that's one of the reasons why I sort of innately want to help people, you know, because that's part of the whole giving part of my personality. So yes, I love to give. And child, speaking of giving, don't worry, CMR, y'all are family too. We have got some fantastic prizes, everything from books, organizers. We got 2023 calendars. We have, oh my goodness, remember the, some of y'all were all crazy about these before, but remember the bottle where you can put like your oil in it and then you can use it sparingly when you cook so we can cook healthier. We got some of those to give away. We got a little speaker set. We got all sorts of stuff in my CMR Santa bag. So don't worry, even if you're not in my top 5, you might not even notice, honey child, because you'll be getting something too. So super, super excited that Christmas is here. 'Tis the season. It is December. And what can I say? It is my favorite time of the year, the holidays. We spend it with family. And it's the right thing to do to just spend it with your loved ones and have an amazing time. So make sure you stay tuned to find out more about how you can win those prizes going into the Christmas holiday season. And we'll be having some of our corporate sponsors come on board. And of course, Shamari said, you know, Health City will jump in. They'll do a donation. We'll have Waffle Monkeys, Burger King, which, by the way, Burger King is actually celebrating their 40th anniversary this month. And so we're going to be talking to them about that promotion because they got a lot of giveaways that they're going to be giving you as well. So stay tuned for all of those amazing details. And we will definitely get you that. I wonder if we couldn't get some CUC vouchers. Like, I'm going to reach out to everybody I can to beg a little gift for you guys. Yeah. So let me just send a quick note to someone. Yes. So, yeah, so that's what we'll be doing. So good morning to Miss Darlene. She says, Sandy, beautiful blouse that you're wearing today. Thank you so much. Miss Dorothy is here. Paul is in the house. He says CMR is looking lovely today. Thank you. Marshall says, don't forget you were caught using the male bathroom. Yes. Well, let me wrap up the whole weekend. So yes, you know, I went to the airport and I don't know why there's always a line at the airport by that F3 gate for the women's bathroom, but the line was out the door and I was like, listen, yeah, my bladder is not going to be waiting on you 5-6 women to get into that one stall. So I've done it before and I did it again yesterday. I went into the men's bathroom. I always give them a little shout out before I go in. Hello, is there anybody in there? Because I don't want anybody accusing me of trying to, you know, take a peek at anything. So I do give them a warning. Hello, are you in there? Nobody answered. Their bathroom is always empty. So I'm like, oh, I'm going in because, you know, they have 2 stalls in there. Yes. So, and what I find is that most men don't use the stalls. So the stalls are normally safe for women. They're pretty clean and they're okay, you know? So anyway, I went in there and then I heard someone come in the stall next door and I was like, hey, woman in the bathroom, just FYI, don't come out, you know, half naked or anything. I'm in here. And the person didn't respond. So I was like, all right, whatever. But yes, Marshall, I did have to use the bathroom. And, you know, when you got to go, you got to go. And I was in and out in tutus. And that the one I went and had like the sink and everything so I could quickly wash my hands and get out of there. So it was great. Thank you guys so much for reminding me of that. So the funny thing is when I was coming out of the bathroom, of course, I ran into Rex. Rex was about to go in and he's like, oh God, what are you doing in the men's bathroom? And I was like, He said, I got to take a picture of you and I'm going to send it to Sherry Ann and tell Sherry Ann to pass it on to CMR. What a hot mess, my dear. All I can tell you is, yeah, crazy. All right, so listen, a couple of birthday shout outs from the weekend, by the way. So big birthday shout out to Mary Stewart, aka Pesse. Her birthday is the 3rd or the 2nd. I always get hers confused. but she's the third, and then I think Kevin is the fourth, I believe. So Kevin Dawkins, my former good friend, still wishing you a beautiful and happy birthday. You're looking good. I see that looks like you've lost a couple pounds, child. So keep it up. His birthday was 3 days ago, December the 2nd. So if he's the second, then, December the 3rd. If he's the third, that means that Mary is the second because she's 1 day before him. So happy birthday to both of those individuals. I'm sure Kevin had a fantastic time. He knows how to live it up. And I'm sure Mary had a good birthday as well. So did I ever show you guys my favorite all-time picture of Mary and Gianna? Oh my God, I gotta share this with you. I love this picture. This is from 6 years ago. Gigi was just a little tiny thing, her first Christmas. And we had gone out to a brunch. I can't remember if it was for Mary's birthday. It might have been, actually. And so we were there in full force, supporting our friend. And we were at the Westin, and it was her and her family. And let me show you guys this picture because I just love. Let me see if I can find it now. I just absolutely love this photo of Gianna and Mary. They almost look like they could be related. Like Gigi looks like she was. Let me see now. Hold on. Let me try to save it. She looks like she could be Auntie Mary's little pumpkin. They're so cute together. Oh my gosh. So, babies go through different phases, and what can I tell you? When they're like really, really young, some of them are so cute. Some babies are not that cute when they're first born. You gotta kind of go, yeah, okay, they're gonna grow into their looks. But Gigi kind of came out cute from day one, I must say. I mean, I'm not saying that just because she's my child. I'm just saying. But look at that. Isn't that cute? And her shirt says, "I'm pretty sure I'm a princess." Oh, look at that little face. Oh my goodness. So cute. But doesn't she look like Mary there? Totally adorbs. So yes, that's the two of them. Auntie Mary. And then as Gigi was growing up, Auntie Mary would come and help me with the hair. She'd be like, "Oh, I'll fix her hair for you." I said, "Thank God, because somebody's got to fix it." Wasn't gonna be me. But happy birthday, Mary, a special friend for 20-something plus years. We go all the way back to the first day, folks, that Mary showed up at Maples and called her. I was there to greet her at the reception desk. And so we have been friends ever since. And I remember her little one, Chanel, who's now a big woman. These kids have grown up so fast. She was about 6 months old, I think, at the time. And one day we were going, I think we were like by Casanovas or somewhere, but we were going somewhere. And Mary's like, "Here, hold Chanel." I was still scared of babies. And I was like, "Oh my God, don't give me your baby. I might drop her." So I held on to her really, really tight. And then she made my back go out. And believe me, she was not a heavy baby, but when you're not used to holding something like a baby, I had a sore back after that. But anyway, lots and lots of fond memories. A big shout out to Kevin as well. 15 plus years. We're having a little moment right now because of Miss K-Man, but that's all right. Speaking of Miss K-Man, today is day 2 of her trial. So she took the stand yesterday, and honey child, that girl is denying all the charges. She's just saying that she never did it. And that she was, kung fu kicking people down in the name of self-defense. That is her story. And that's what she's sticking to. It's a little bit strange, and we're going to do a write-up a little bit later on because I need to review. I wasn't in court yesterday. I was traveling. So I need to review the notes that my assistant took for me. But it's safe to say that her version of events for the 24-year-old is very, very different. And it includes the second that she opened the door, that the victim, who we have not named, pushed her down, is what she wants to claim, and was basically trying to assault her. And then everything that followed after that she did to him and his son and the vehicles was all in the name of self-defense. We'll see if the judge believes her story. I don't believe it, just for the record, in case you're wondering. I think it's a bunch of cockamamie. Anyway, the woman has shown a degree of rage, not just on this occasion, but on previous occasions. Part of it was captured on the CCTV footage of the detention center. So that was the prosecution wrapping up their case yesterday. And they did show some of that. And yeah, She claims that the victim, that she was the victim who's been manipulated and deliberately set up. Oh my God. Anyway, I don't want to talk about Tiffany today. Even thinking about her right now does my head in. We'll dedicate, once the trial's over today, we'll dedicate some time to her a bit later on, because this story is just, you can't make this shit up. Like, seriously, you really can't make it up. Ooh, she wants to be the victim. Yeah, okay. And she had all the Miss K-Man committee members hoodwinked, apparently. Anyway, honey chill. Let's see who's in the house. Gabby's here. She says, did I miss an AT? Girl, the best part coming right up, because we're going to talk about Doctors Hospital. I'm very, very salty about Doctors Hospital. I got to tell you, I really feel a way about when people lie to me. And Doctors Hospitals, they have lied. And I don't know why. Oh my God. Give me a second. Let me sip on my tea and calm down a little bit. Anyway, Cayman Airways, can we please, for the love of God, get some staff back at the counter, some Caymanian staff back at the counter in Miami? I would love to see, when I'm coming into my own country, some beautiful Caymanian faces. I think Marilyn was on vacation. She wasn't there. I didn't see her. And boy, do I miss that. And they have a different concept of customer service. Now, I was trying to, oh Lord, let me just share this story. Caller, 1 second. So I had to open up a box to stick something in the box, right? And I had boxes. So what I did this time to save myself the headache, I told my mailbox people, listen, just pack up the stuff for me. I ain't got no time to be spending 2 hours trying to pack and open up packages. And you guys do it. I'll pay you a couple shillings to do that for me. That's fine. And it just makes my life easier. Sometimes you got to know how to make your life a little bit easier, right? So anyway, so I had some boxes. I get to the airport and I realized the porter said, oh yeah, put this in one of those boxes. And I said, oh yeah, because they pack the boxes and they stuff them with paper because there was still space in them, but I didn't have anything else to go in, right? So I was like, oh, that's a good idea. So I opened it up. Then I was looking for tape to close it back. Guess what? Cayman Airways not got no tape. Now I said, hold on just a second. Yeah. Cayman Airways ticket counter don't have tape? Do you guys not know who we are? As Caymanians, the only reason we go to Miami, honey child, is to shop and maybe stop into Red Lobster for one evening of the trip. Nobody going to, medical stuff, maybe. Y'all don't have to go anymore because you got Health City. But, I'm just like, what do you think you guys are here for? The luggage, to check in people in their luggage. Geez, on peace. It doesn't take much foresight to know you need a little bit of packing tape at the counter. Right? They're like, oh, we ran out. The office said we ran out. We don't have any more. Can someone please go to Costco, Sam's Club, Walmart, anybody in Miami and get a case of tape and leave it at the Cayman Airways counter? So thankfully, there was a lady there. I don't even know her name, but big shout out to her. Showed me some Cayman kind. And as I was walking around the whole airport looking for tape, she said, are you okay? You need any help? And I said, honey, Chad, I'm looking for some tape. She said, girl, you are in luck. She travels with her own packing tape, which I'm going to start doing now too, thanks to Cayman Airways. So she travels. I hear you, Charlene. She travels with her own packing tape and her carry-on luggage because she's like, you're always going to need it. And I said, wow, I've never needed it in all my life, but here you go. Cayman Airways never had any. And it got me to thinking when I was talking to these young ladies, I know that they're focused on the Cuban flight because apparently Cayman Airways makes so much money off of the Cuban flights. Could they be loaded down with packages? So much so that TSA will no longer, take note now, Caymanians, they're starting to weigh your carry-on because the Cubans were taking advantage of it. And they were carrying all 25, one suitcase weighed 25, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, all kind of foolishness. And they were like, no, you can't be packing all that stuff in one little carry-on. So now the limit is 15 pounds. So make sure you know that your carry-on can't be heavy. Anyway, Miss Charlene, good morning.
Good morning. I was just calling to ask about Soka. If you had seen her or whether she had a blow up.
She must be on vacation because I know some no Caymanians at that counter.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Well, she would have had everything there, including that shriek. Where you going? Oh, I know. I was all perturbed yesterday, really, and the phone wouldn't work to send a text or anything. I didn't want to call because if it was something I don't business call it. So, you know, lots and lots of people were kind of, what we call it, beklept.
Oh, because we didn't have a show. Yes, honey child.
I say, okay, well, the board must be going out because the board was everything, it was chipping out. So the board must have gone out. And then when you know, oh God, we were kind of out of it. And then, you know, you got this terrible flu going about. So, wow, people who got it, who had it said it is even worse than COVID. So I was kind of worried about that. And then I was happy to hear it going away, to hear it if I had seen
I don't normally tell people in advance when I'm traveling, but I tell them afterwards when I get back.
I know. But I know that, you know, she must be going there, you know, like that. But yeah, it was a dull day. Yeah. And I would like to send birthday greetings if I could, just for two people, one I know and another one I don't know. For Miss Loise Borden, and I don't know for sure what day she is, and for Mr. Jeff Ebanks, and I can't forget Mimi and Miss Alice. Happy birthday, ladies, when it comes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, honey. I appreciate it.
Bye.
So correction, Kevin is the 3rd and Mary is the 4th. I always do it was like 1 day, 2 days back to back. So she comes a day after him. She's like, Chai, you should know my birthday by now after 20-something years. I know, right? I'm the worst with dates. This person says that they're going to have my Higgler license revoked because I think you should bring your own tape. I always carry my own tape. Well, honey child, now I know. Now I know. What a hot mess. Yeah, well, I guess I'll be carrying my own tape from now on. Well, I've like I said, you know, I kind of expected Cayman Airways to have a little piece of tape that they could give me. My goodness. I mean, I don't mind paying for my excess luggage, and trust me, they made a pretty penny off of me yesterday. And I don't mind. I come in, I pay my customs duty. I'm not going to complain about that stuff, but is it asking too much for a little bit of customer service? Hello, Jonathan. There you are. Miss Dorothy says, watching from Florida. I just love it here in CMR. Oh, thank you. What is Jonathan talking about? In today's world, they just might think you're something else. Oh, because I go in the men's bathroom? Ask me if I care, first of all. Let's start there. And oh my goodness. And then I'll tell you, I don't give a damn. I saw you talking about bah humbug. This is Christmas. Get in the season, son. Thank you, Sandra. Aliana says, morning to all. Miss Sandy, you up in the men's mind out. What? Mind them Republicans come for you. Oh, poor them. Oh, child. They'll survive. They'll live. They'll be okay. Jim is having a good laugh about Red Lobster. Now, you know, Caymanians, we are very, very predictable. And you know what is so funny about this whole thing? Because I grew up in the States, I don't have the background of like growing up, going to Miami and stuff. I actually don't really like Miami. It's not my favorite city for more reasons than one. Ugh. Don't get me started on the Cubanos who no hablo English, okay? And you live for 50 years in Miami and you don't speak any English. Oh, Lord Jesus. I was like, I get it. I know you're from Cuba and you live in Little Havana, whatever, but can you learn some freaking English? Is it too much to ask? You live in America. Anyway, the GPS, I wanted to get a SIM card when I went there, right? So I thought, oh yes, I got my little, I still use the traditional Garmin map thing. It's great. It tells me where I got to go. I don't get lost and whatever. So I just put in there mobile, take me to mobile shop and I don't know what part of Miami it took me to, but believe me, when I tell you, it's not an area that I would ordinarily go in. Okay. Yes, I can be a little bit stush about certain things. And for security reasons, there are certain parts of Miami that I would not be caught dead or alive in if I could help it. So, anywho, I go follow these directions. Obviously, it was kind of close-ish to the airport. And I could tell, you can tell when you're in a grungy neighborhood, honey chill. And here I am in this neighborhood, and I'm like, oh my gosh, no, this is not where I want to be. So I get out in this plaza. There's like a mobile, what was it called? It wasn't T-Mobile, it was something else. Mobile something. And then another one that's lesser known. Anyway, I go to the first one. That guy was all right. He spoke some English, thank God. And he's like, no, because I'm looking for just data. I just wanted a data SIM because I have my MiFi device. I don't need anything else from you guys. Flo got me covered on phone calls and whatever. So, but I want to be able to connect like laptops and other stuff. So he's like, no, go 2 doors down. There is a shop in there. So I go 2 doors down, honey child. And here we go now. The woman who don't speak, no, actually she spoke English. She just had really poor customer service. She was on the phone the entire time on a personal phone call. And I'm like, I want to find out about SIM card. She's like, no. And she just kept having her personal phone call. I was like, excuse me? And I just stood there to see if she was going to be like, okay, mamacita, yo tengo un customer, voy or something. Like, I got to go, like something. Oh, no, honey child. She just continued conversation like I did not exist. And I was like, wow, poor customer service is not unique to the Cayman Islands. It's bad all over the world, apparently. So anyway, I just walked out the store and I did take a picture of the store because I want to know who owns that store. Do they wonder why your store is empty and why you're not getting any customers? It's because you have somebody hired in there who's on a personal phone call and not paying your customers any mind. And of course, let's be very, very honest. The Cubans in Miami treat you differently because you're not Cuban. Mm-hmm. And you don't speak Espanol. Mm-hmm. So then in the same plaza, I went to a little Cuban restaurant on the end and I said, hey, by the way, what's the name of they have like an outside window? That's very popular with Cuban restaurants in Miami. It's a thing that they've adopted from Cuba. They brought the restaurant, but you can still go to the outside window and place your order. So the woman's like, I don't speak no English. And I said, well, you spoke that much. Really? No speaking? I was like, oh, here we go. And then she just walked off. And I'm like, does anybody speak English? Is anybody going to be willing to help? What if I wanted to order some food? No, they're not interested in you because you don't speak English. I was like, you know what? Let me try and go to Doral, where at least I'll find Spanish-speaking people who do speak a little bit of English. Jeez, peace. What a mess. Speaking of bad and good customer service, I went in JCPenney's. Y'all know I love me a Penny's. I'm still looking for the last remaining Sears in all of Miami. And the GPS had me driving all over, and I still haven't found it all now. But if you know where there's a Sears that is still open in Miami, please let me know. I want to visit one more time for old time's sake. Anyway, it took me someplace again. I was like, oh, completely lost. I don't know where the heck that was. That had been closed for years. So I go into Penny's, and then I was in that mall. I forget which mall that was. Oh, I think that was Broward. And then I said, oh, let me go to Macy's. I don't normally go in Macy's. But I'm like, oh, let me go to Macy's. Honey child. The customer service was night and day. Everybody in Macy's was greeting me. So much so that I'm thinking, do they get an extra bonus for a good morning? I'm like, every time they say good morning, are they getting like a little $5 gift card or something? Because they were all, oh, good morning. Can we help you? Do you need anything? I was like, what? This level of customer service in retail, I have not seen in a minute, child. I was blown away. Good job, Macy's. In fact, I made an unexpected purchase in Macy's. I didn't intend to buy anything. I was just having to look around, and I ended up buying 2 things. So big shout out to the staff at Macy's who apparently are hustling for their money. The perfume lady was like, I gave you 3 gifts. And I was like, really? What are the 3 gifts? Because, they like to add on stuff. I used to work in a, what store was that? I used to be at not the, cosmetics and perfume are always in the same area. One of my jobs was at the, as a cosmetics for this brand that most of you probably have never heard of, but it's called Shiseido. And they work in commission. They be hustling, and I'm all about the hustle, honey child. So listen, let's talk about Doctors Hospital. So what I was, listen, I don't, oh Lord, where can we start with this story? First of all, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, because clearly the administrators over at Doctors Hospital were not paying attention when I said it. It's not directed at anybody. It's a general statement, right? please do not lie to me. I mean, kill me with the cold hard truth. You know, that's what the song says, as opposed to telling me a well-dressed lie. The most interesting thing about it is most of your lie is not even well-dressed. Y'all are the worst at lying, so that's why you shouldn't do it. So you will remember on the 18th of last month, we posted up that there was an altercation between two physicians at Doctors Hospital. We posted on our Facebook page. Let me see if I can find the post. I'm going to tell you all exactly what it said. And essentially it said that there was an allegation that after some sort of a dispute, one of the doctors had assaulted another doctor. Now, y'all were in a state of shock. Oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, you know, Okay, I said, listen, people are human beings, and that means that sometimes they're unpredictable. Sometimes people step out of character. Like me yesterday, if you saw me at the counter, one woman was like, "Oh, Sandy, I saw that look on your face. How are you looking at that agent?" Yes, honey child. We all have those moments where you're like, "Oh, this woman that caused me to step out of character." Now, stepping out of character for me would be like, I'd probably just tell her a couple choice words. I'm not going to jump over the counter and beat her up. But some of y'all stepping out of character means that you're going to be laying hands and fingers and toes, Tiffany, on people. And, you know, that's a different kind of stepping out of character, right? That takes it to a much different level. And we don't advocate violence around the place. We advocate self-defense now. If you got to defend yourself, that's one thing. But violence, unprovoked violence, is just absolutely unacceptable. Anyway, y'all didn't want to believe me. And you were like, no, this doctor is such a nice guy. You know, blaming the little old man. What happened? He must have pissed him off. I wasn't there. And I don't know how much pissing off went on. But in a professional environment, when you're a physician, listen, you got to just keep you cool. No, honey child, you can't be laying your hands on people. Anyway, we posted it up. I know within minutes of us posting it up, let me not confuse the place now, Doctors Hospital, they were on the hunt, wanting to know who gave me this information. Y'all, please go take several seats. Who gave me the information is none of your business. Why am I even getting this information in terms of why is one physician laying hands on the other physician should have been your only concern. Tell me, how did Sandy get this information? And you know, the sad thing is they always want to be believing the one real Caymanian that works there as a physician, the one or two. Now, y'all stop it, because no physician told me about this. Let me set the record straight from now, because I know y'all be targeting people thinking, oh, Sandy talks to so-and-so, so I got to be her source. Let me say it again for all of you in the back of the classroom. No physician, and I'm telling the truth, unlike Doctors Hospital now, no physician gave me this information. Now, Doctors Hospital, what you do in the dark always comes to light. You cannot be lying and think that it is going to just go so. Okay. So the first thing they did was issue this statement. Official statement. The senior leadership team of Doctors Hospital is aware of an incident involving two members of staff this evening, including circulating news of a physical altercation. It is our belief that there are no circumstances in any dispute that justify the use of physical means, and Doctors Hospital has a zero tolerance policy, so they claim, under any circumstances. We're obviously responding to this news immediately and at the highest level, really. Yeah, so they claim. Let's go on. They go on to say that, however, it is also vital, as well as fair and professional towards all concerned, that the facts are sought, and this is our immediate priority. There's no room for either under or overreaction in such circumstances, and we appreciate some brief patience whilst we ascertain all of the facts in this case. We will respond further as soon as the true circumstances are clear and unambiguous. And this is signed by Dr. Med Yaron Rado, who's the chairman of the board of directors. Well, good for them. They came in hot and heavy, using words that we like to hear. Oh, under no circumstances, physical abuse in the workplace, blah, blah, blah. Okay. I'm thinking, all right, well, let's see what happened. Now, if you recall, the last time I spoke about this around the time of the incident, I said, nothing will come of this. This is the kind of thing that Doctors Hospital will want to move past as quickly as they possibly can. So I wasn't expecting anything earth-shattering, but what I wasn't expecting was a bold-faced lie and trying to gaslight CMR. Now you're gone and done pissed me off. Okay? So here's what they did. They took over a week from the 18th to the 28th. They had plenty of time to think about how they wanted to respond to this. There is zero doubt that the incident happened. Listen, when I posted it up, there was zero doubt in my mind at the time that it happened. We always say allegedly. Yeah? Got that little tip from TMZ. Even when you know it's 1,000%, just throw in allegedly, honey child. So, these salty people over at Doctors Hospital decide to deny the fact that it happened. Not only do they deny it, so on the 28th, they issued a follow-up statement. And it says, following an alleged assault by one member of the Doctors Hospital's medical staff and another, the senior leadership team conducted a full investigation, including interviewing both parties concerned. We acted immediately because behavior of this type, alleged, is not acceptable under any circumstances within the Doctors Hospital group of companies. Firstly and unequivocally, there was no assault. Jeez, I'm peace. Why y'all lying? Why are y'all? Hold on now. I need a little button up in here. What? I need a button that says y'all a bunch of liars. I don't have that one yet. Jeez, Doctors Hospital, you're forcing me to get you're a bunch of liars button. But seriously, why are you lying? There was no assault? That is the best you come up with, Dr. Yaron Rado? You've got to be kidding me. All right, let us continue reading for the sake of a little bit of comic relief this morning. Firstly and unequivocally, what a big word, means that there's no room for any dispute. There was no assault or physical aggression of any kind. Lord Jesus, does this man go to church? Was he never taught? But you see, this is why y'all don't focus too much on church, because whether you go to church or not, you must know to tell the truth. Anyway, or physical aggression of any kind between the two individuals, and the circulation of news in this case was both premature and wholly inaccurate, especially in its inference that Dr. Andrew Robinson had assaulted Dr. Azad Isak. The two individuals concerned, they put their titles and names, whatever, worked closely together, discussing many professional matters, and it is obviously disappointing from all that energetic debate resulted in a story from with such an implication. All right, let me just stop reading the BS right there. It does go on to talk about, we urge individuals to consider the impact of what to them might have seemed like a moment of Friday gossip, but to Dr. Robinson, a kind and gentle person, an exceptional physician renowned for his compassion and empathy, was obviously extremely hurtful. Stop the BS. This is making me regurgitate in my mouth right now. I am literally throwing up. Doctors Hospital, I'm calling you out this morning for the liars that you are. Why? First of all, let me just tell you something. Y'all think I'm stupid. That's the only reason you would lie to me. Because I'm the type of person. Instead of lying to me, you just come straight and say, Sandy, this is what I tell my daughter all the time. Because at the age of 6, they want to deny everything. I keep telling her, Gianna, do not lie to me. Just tell me the truth. Because I'm going to go easier on you. Siobhan, what's that saying that you have about telling the truth? And the punishment, pull it up. You're trying to slide into number 3 spot, become useful now. Pull up and tell me, well, your daddy always used to tell you about lying, because when you lie, you put yourself in a very different category. Doctor's hospital, you're in a different category this morning. I've really lost respect that you could pen your name to this. And you have brought down your entire institution with this foul lie. Seriously, I'm just not feeling it at all. It's unfortunate. Right? So, you know, when I post something and I ask a question, I would say in about 95% of the times, I already know the answer. That's one of the things that they teach you in Law School 101. Do not ask a question that you do not know the answer to, because that's when your witness is going to shock you and you're going to be like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. I don't have a follow-up question. That's stupid. And when someone lies to you, right? That to me is an indication that they believe that you're pretty dumb. Well, here you know. Obviously, Dr. Yado and everybody else at Doctor's Hospital thought that that I was born this size and that I must be pretty stupid. That's the only logical conclusion I can jump to. Because if they don't think that I knew what went down before I even posted it, and then in fact, I held off on posting it because I was going to see what was going to happen. All right, well, you know how we roll around here. There is more than one way to get to the truth. And so what they weren't counting on is that this little girl, little Sandy from Georgetown, might be a little smarter than them when it comes to certain things. Now, I'm no surgeon, right? I will relinquish all the medical expertise up to point to them. Yeah? You're a medical expert. You're the top-notch surgeon. You're this, you're that. Fine. But do tell if you actually thought I'd be stupid enough not to contact the police. Hallelujah. Where is that kaboom? This is a bomb I'm going to drop on y'all. The police were called to Doctor's Hospital. What were they called for, since you say unequivocally there was no assault that took place? They were called for good looks, I mean, you know, I'm not going to say maybe some RCIPS members don't look half decent, but they don't get called and show up to the scene for nothing. Wow. You know, in the United States of America, when there's a domestic situation, and obviously this isn't quite a domestic situation, somebody is going to jail. American police don't have this philosophy now. They do not care. When you call them and they show up, he got a black eye, you got a bruised arm, both of you might be going to jail together. But they're going to remove somebody from the situation when they get a call. RCIPS got a call. Lord Jesus. So, you know, the RCIPS, sometimes you got to really put it to them specifically. So we email them from the 19th, the day after the incident. They took their sweet time and didn't say nothing. We followed up on the 28th at 4:51 p.m. Says, hello. You see my email below? Do you intend on responding? Oh, sorry. Apologies for the delay. Really? Then they come back and say no arrests were made in the incident. Well, that was part of my question. Or maybe that was the question, but now I need to ask a little bit further. Because Doctor's Hospital has just issued a statement denying anything. And the worst part about this, Dr. Yado, you and I need to have a sit down, because you have not only insulted me with your bold-faced lie, but then you tried to gaslight me and CMR with your half-baked cockamamie story, and I do not like it. You gaslight me by saying things like, oh, this is why media should be responsible. This is why media must get to the bottom of this. Hold on. You want to hear what the people them say? That we got it wrong. Yeah? That we got it wrong, premature, wholly inaccurate. Then they go on talking about, oh, these two individuals, and we've impacted Dr. Andrew Robinson's reputation. I don't give two hoots about Dr. Andrew's reputation anymore because he laid hands on an elderly man who's substantially older than him. And I don't care why he did it. The same way I'm going to hold little Tiffany Conley in her weave and her high heels accountable for her inappropriate behavior of putting hands on people, I'm going to hold a professional physician just as, or maybe even more responsible, because Tiffany got anger management issues without a doubt. But she's also a young lady in her 20s. Dr. Andrew Robinson, you're in your 40s, a professional physician. I do expect, because you got 20 years on her, a little bit more. And so the chairman of the board, whoever else signed off on this foolishness, seriously? Oh, we've impacted his professional reputation, disappointing about the energetic debate. You not hear energetic debate till you tuned in this morning with your lies. You would have been better off, Doctors Hospital, and your whole entire chairman of the board, to say nothing further. You put a lie out in the community, and then you gaslight CMR, talking about we're irresponsible. We've gotten it wrong. Oh, how you're disappointed. Well, let's talk about who is disappointed this morning. Huh? I'm disappointed in you all because you know what? This makes me step back and have a think. If they gonna lie about this, what else might they be lying about? Y'all want me to go there? If you're gonna lie about something as simple as this and as easy to prove, I told y'all the last show I did on this, they're going to do nothing about it. I didn't expect the nothing to include a complete fabrication and trying to gaslight me and CMR by extension. They're lucky that I'm not suing them this morning for defamation. Because that's my reputation that's on the line. You calling me a liar in this big ass statement? And then, hold on now. They got the audacity to put it on their social media page, and the little donkeys that are out there following them got talking about, oh, y'all should sue her. You should sue Sandy. Sue who? Really? So all the people that jumping in, oh, y'all should sue her, and they can actually name. Here, Karen McGill Armstrong, the source should be sought and charged accordingly. Charged with what? Charged with telling the truth? Is that now a criminal offense in this country? Do tell me, Karen, is it a criminal offense to tell the truth? I don't care who they are. And that's why I say on this platform all the time, y'all be getting salty, politicians, leaders of government. Listen, we are here committed to the truth, not to you as an individual, not to you as a hospital. The truth is the truth. Huh? So, honey child, I'm in Miami, and Renee is going to work on the story. And I said, Renee, call these people what they are in the title. Call them a bold-faced liar. Okay, there's no other way. I'm not excusing their behavior. They have lied through their teeth. And not only have they lied, but then they attempted to gaslight us, making us look like we're the bad people here when we told the truth. Huh? You put it up on your page and you allow people to comment on it. Karen, Camille Short, whoever promoted or gave publicly to this awful tale without also confirming is mainly responsible for the damage done to Dr. Robinson's good name. What good name, pray tell? If you assault somebody, you assault somebody. What makes him have a good name after he's put hands on someone? Oh, they were so ready to believe this lie. They're all up in the conversation. Slander's illegal. Here, Karen again. She must be a friggin' lawyer. Dr. Robinson has the right to sue. Slander is illegal. Actually, you're right, Karen. So does that mean now that today I have a case of slander against Doctors Hospital? Because they've slandered CMR's reputation and mine, but by accusing us of premature, wholly inaccurate, incorrect, right? Of damaging somebody's professional reputation, which we did not. So now I have to wonder, what is good for the goose? Is it good for the gander? No, but this is one-sided, you see. This is how things work in this country. Now. We speak the truth on a daily basis. Yeah? And the one time somebody wants to claim it's not the truth, okay, then all of a sudden, it was Nancy Harris talking about, and I don't know who Nancy is. It says she volunteers at Savannah Primary School. She responds to Karen, oh, it's CMR. Nancy and all the rest of you, please get your information correct. How about that? So we went back to the police after their first non-response, really. They're like, yeah, nobody was arrested. And I said, no. Let's get it right. Okay? We need to know the nature of the complaint that was received. Why were you called up for the first place, et cetera, et cetera. Then they came back with the whole kit and caboodle. They said at about 3:45 p.m., officers responded to a dispute between two persons known to each other at the location, which involved physical contact. Y'all heard that? Here, hold on. Hear it again. That's a nice way of saying that the man was assaulted. Physical contact. AKA, he was assaulted. You don't put your hands on people. Huh? That is an assault by its very definition. They go on to further state that the complainant was spoken to, that's a little old man, Dr. Asak, and requested that the other person involved be warned. So in other words, he was happy to say, yeah, just tell him don't put his hands on me again. Because of course, now everybody's reputation is on the line here. And they don't want the whole hospital to look bad and everybody. Doctors Hospital, are you for real? The police have confirmed an assault, confirmed they spoke to the complainant, confirmed that they warned Dr. Robinson, and you putting out a lie about nothing happened, no physical contact? Y'all have no shame. About you carried on a full investigation? Well, obviously your investigation skills leaves a lot to be desired. But this is your attempt at a lame cover-up. And it's very, very unfortunate. Now, how would you feel today if I went to my lawyer and said, please send Doctors Hospital a letter? Because they've sullied my reputation. And by the way, their post is still up on social media. All the comments naming CMR, telling them we should be sued, blah, 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 still up on social media because they ain't got no sense over Doctors Hospital. Because if they think that I'm joking with them, they better try and look up a thing or two about Sandy Hill. Because they might realize it's not a joke. This is serious a heart attack. They go on talking about the senior leadership team wishes to again reiterate that physical altercation has no place in our workplace. You lie, you lie, you lie. We're obviously relieved that this incident turned out to be nothing of the sort. And we feel deeply sorry for what Dr. Robinson has obviously gone through as a result. Wow. This is as bad as Tiffany claiming that she's the victim. Dr. Robinson? Who the hell is Dr. Robinson, by the way? You think if I call him this morning, he'd answer the phone? Anybody got his phone number? Anybody got Dr. Asak's phone number? Why would y'all sign off on this? So now he's the victim. This is the definition. This is what you call, for those of you not familiar with this term, gaslighting, right? This is a classic case of what gaslighting looks like. You couldn't get more classic than this. Gaslighting, definition. It's a colloquialism loosely defined as manipulating someone so as to make them question their own reality. Yes. Psychological warfare. You're trying to tell me that I'm crazy, that this didn't happen. Trying to say that we're the bad guys here. We're the ones who got it wrong. Wow. They feel deeply sorry for Dr. Robinson. You should be feeling sorry for Dr. Asak, because he probably got a little bruise or two on his arm. Now, hear ya. This is laughable. We have taken the opportunity to remind all staff, though, of our strict and high standards, and also that all behavior, however benign, has the potential to be misinterpreted. Yeah, right. And we should be mindful of that in our day-to-day work. Wow. So let me understand you, Dr. Yado, since you're the one who signed Rado, since you're the one who actually signed the letter. You're talking about strict and high standards. Does that not include fabricating stories and telling a bold-faced lie and trying to throw CMR under the bus? What kind of standards are we talking about here? Because it seems to me like you have no standards. Or at the very minimum, your standards are very duplicitous, and the standards that you have must apply to the little staff and nobody else. No, sir. Hear ya. Thanks, Siobhan. Siobhan, pull up yourself, girl. She says there's no punishment for telling the truth, but there will be consequences. Well, there's punishment for telling a bold-faced lie. Let me read some of your comments before I go to court to sit down and watch some more lies be told. No, sir. Morning, Leslie. Stacey Ann says, they think you born when your mother gone to the market. Must be. Honey child. Johan says politicians lie and people still vote for them. So why is it a big deal for a business to spin their story on an allegedly incident? Hashtag brand management. It's not an alleged incident. It actually happened. And we don't tolerate anybody lying on this program. And I don't care if it's your mama, your papa, your cousin, Bobo, TD, politician. It doesn't matter. If you get caught in a bold-faced lie, this is a pretty big lie when you think about it. Leslie says a paper trail is something else. It sure is. Like I said, it makes me question the intellectual capacity of these people over at Doctors Hospital. Who do they have helping them with crisis management and PR and all this kind of stuff? Because whoever advised them to do this, to send out that response, should be fired. And if it was the board themselves, please fire yourself. If it was Dr. Yardo as chairman of the board, step down. Because you don't have one lick of sense for sending this out. Do you not know? Have you not ever listened to a single episode on CMR? You've called into the program before, so I know that you do listen. You know? While y'all out there suing government and upset about concessions that Hell City's getting, maybe you should try a little bit of honesty. Now, this is making me dig deeper into you all. And this is one of the issues that you always have when you're on my radar. You put yourself in the spotlight and you attack us and you put me on your radar. And I started to think, I said to myself, hold on a second. Whatever became of that lawsuit with our good friend over there at the photo place, Bobby, where his wife died and he was suing them because sources tell me in the streets that that was settled for a pretty coin, or he won his lawsuit. I'm going to verify and I'm going to check. You see what you just did, Dr. Rado? Now you have me all up in your business, questioning what else you're not telling the people and what else you're lying about. You should be careful. You should be careful. You hear me talk about the Dr. Streisand effect? Sometimes you go over in your little corner and you sit your behind down and keep your mouth shut. That's the thing to do. Irvelin says, wow, one bag of liar geriatrics. Why lie though? What else do they lie about? You see? What else you lying about? That's a very good question. No, sir. Johan says, FYI, if you make a report to the RCIPS, you might as well give a copy to CMR at the same time, because the leaks over there are as wide as the Caribbean Sea. Now, Johan, that's a damn lie. Johan, I'm going to call you a bold-faced liar this morning now as well. I don't get any leaks from the RCIPS. I cannot think of a single bit of information that has come from them. In fact, we know about stuff before they know about it. We're reporting on news before they release anything. So that is a lie. Johan, you have been found to be wanting and lying this morning in the program. Do not lie on the RCIPS. They have enough issues. They have, like I said, I'm thinking hard now because you know I don't like to use exclusive words like always and never, but I cannot recall a single incident that has happened in this country where my source or a tip came from the police. We send them emails on information that is available to the public and they respond. When they cannot respond, they say, unfortunately, we can't answer that. We can't address it. When you call 911, you are utilizing the services of this country. So we have a right to know if someone called the police and attended the scene, and that is how the information was obtained, a single media email. Yeah? You're called to a hospital about an incident? That is nothing that the police are going to hide. They might not necessarily report it on their own accord, which is what they did. They didn't report it. But if we ask the question, they will respond and they will answer. So don't be trying to put the RCIPS under any pressure, but they telling me stuff. Half the time they be calling me, asking me for tips. Oh, how do you know that? Where'd you get that from? Bonnie says, what a bangarang. Oh, my Lord, you got that right. Ali says, locks. Whew. Doctors, hospital, bunch of thieving liars start with their billing. Oh, geez. Moya says, if they lie about something like this, what else are they covering up? We need to keep an eye on the complaints that come from patients from there now. And I tell you what, Doctors Hospital, they are so unaware of how many complaints I get from staff, both previous and current, about them, that I have said nothing about up until this point. Now you're done gone and put yourself in the limelight and you're accusing us of all kind of stuff. So I'm wondering how much of the little bag of goods should we let out to the public and Doctors Hospital? Because there's a lot of allegations around that place that y'all don't know what you're doing. I'm just saying, not from a management and employee perspective. Bonnie says, I lost faith in Doctors Hospital for my friend Lisa Turner's death. I totally lost my trust in them. Well, I don't know nothing about that specific situation. I'm trying to remember what the coroner's report said. But what I will say is I've lost faith in them now because of this lie. Yeah. Somebody suggested that works there, oh, Sandy, why don't you reach out to the author of the letter before you do your show? And I said, reach out to him for what? So he can tell me another lie and insult me further? No, Bobo, not today. Miss Morna says, Sandy, it's called TikTok, whatever it's called. I don't know nothing about that. But anyway, Aliano says it goes to show you the nature and mindset of a community that hide in the dark too long. When you lift up the rug and dirt is found to some and disgusting to others, do accept this issue for being just what it is. They could have really addressed this quite differently, in my honest opinion. Silence might have been their best bet. Nautilus says, grateful for you, Sandy. Makes one question what some professionals will hide and lie about. And when it possibly comes to your health, that is something to ponder. Well, yeah. Darlene says, Johan, this is where we go wrong as a person. Lying is just wrong. Jonathan over in his corner laughing. Poor John says, oh my, what a mess. Jackie says, I know of a nurse that worked there and she says that they treat their staff like feces. I'm just being polite by the word feces. Yeah, I have heard. Oh, yes, you're right, Marshall. I need to get a clip from Maury's show when he says, that's a lie. Johan says, experience has taught many otherwise. What are you talking about? What experience? A lie is a lie is a lie. You can't dress it up. Miss Vernita says, I'm glad that you took that little break off. You come back to finish trying to help others in the wrongdoing in this place. What a mess. I don't know what to say except don't lie. This is listen, a lie by any other name is still a lie. Don't pretty it up, Johan. It don't make no difference. This is one of the more glaring, bold-faced lies that I have seen in a minute. And I'm disappointed in Doctors Hospital. I expected more of them, to be honest, you know? I don't have no beef with them, but I do have beef now when you try to throw me under the bus and question my reputation and my integrity. When you know that you were lying the whole time. Yeah? Poor Alejandro. He looked like he's speechless. He's like, what the heck? Listen, I try to have, I'm going to wrap it up here. I think Kevin's going to be coming in here in a second if he's ready. I try to, you know, really work with a lot of companies, professionals, you know, like Johan said, sometimes it's brand marketing, it's this, whatever. Listen, I'm a business owner and I get certain things, but I don't get lying to people and throwing other people under the bus, right? You need to be a good corporate citizen. Someone says, welcome back. When I can't find you in the mornings, it's like not finding Shiloh. I panic. Shiloh is their beloved dog. You're killing me. I don't want to end up at Doctor's Hospital. The audacity, sue them. And what does Dr. Sydney think about all this? Poor Dr. Sydney. Did Jonathan share his weed with Johan? This person said, did Jonathan share his weed with Johan because Johan talking foolishness this morning? Good morning. Another person says, Doctor's Hospital is an unorganized hot mess. Had a couple of dealings with them and had to control my composure. Lord Jesus. Another person says, put it on them, Sandy. That's disgusting. Trying to cover up their wrong. I wouldn't go there for a buck toe. Lord Jesus. Thank you so much to this person. He says, I think she means liable. She doesn't even know the right word because slander is spoken. That's right. Good legal eagle. Libel is when you put it in writing, and slander is when you speak the words. And listen, nobody can sue you for the truth. An absolute defense to libel or slander is the truth. And in this case, it was the truth. Dr. What's his name? Robinson put hands on Dr. Isak. Now, I'm not saying he broke the man's arm. I'm not saying, you know, it was like an ass whooping from here until eternity. Listen, I never said none of that, you know. I just said an assault took place. So much so that Dr. Isak called the police. Now, here's the biggest joke. When I said to them, when they sent out this response the other day, and I said to them, just a logical question. Why were the police called? Here what their official response was. What a bunch of donkeys. Where's my hee-haw button? Hear what they had to say. The hospital didn't call them. I was like, what? The hospital didn't call them? Okay. Caller, good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of duplicity, the government is taking bills to the legislature. One deals with the penal code. One deals with the anti-corruption law. And in the case of politicians, you'll have to prove that they intended to do it. But in the case of other people, it's strict liability. You
Kenny?
don't consider...
I can't go into overtime this morning because I do have to run out to see the trial. I'm just waiting on Kevin. But I'm going to invite you to speak to a criminal lawyer because I think you, as well as others, have gotten this completely wrong. And as someone who knows a little bit about the law, let me assure you that any offense in grand court is not a strict liability offense. It requires a mens rea. And the article, I mean, I hate to say it, but Alric got it wrong, and he's confused the hell out of a bunch of you, and you're on the wrong path with this. Go and ask anybody from the DPP's office or any seasoned criminal lawyer, and they will set you straight. Can I leave you with that? Do a little bit of research.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
How come you didn't do a program on it?
I did. Did you not listen to the interview last week?
Which interview?
We sat down with the premier of this country and went through the anti-corruption law, in relation to this section 17 and this question that has come up? Did you miss it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So since you missed it, I'm going to extract it and reschedule it on social media as just that segment, that interview alone, for everyone to watch. Let me just
watch it.
Yes, let me just say this much. Not all lawyers understand different elements of the law. There's criminal law, civil law, commercial, and I mean, people specialize in constitutional law. The law can be very, very complex. Even with my rudimentary understanding of the law, I can tell you that from the second I saw Alric's headline, I knew he got it wrong. Any offense of that nature has always been one that required mens rea. It's impossible not to. The things that are strict liability are like...
So what is the point? What is the point of adding the word intentional?
Because they're changing the wording, because the drafters said that they are trying to amend legislation so it's easier for the average person to understand. So in their attempt to make law less legalese and more common for the common man has now gotten all confused. Isn't that ironic?
It is very ironic if that's the fact.
It is.
If that is the fact.
It is. And that's the only reason that they're trying to get away from all these fanciful words, right? The intent has always been there. I told y'all the other day, I was sitting in a case with this young lady from East End, this police officer, right? Where they were talking about the fact that she accessed criminal records. She's being charged with breach of trust. Even that, you would think, well, the mere fact that she accessed it is enough. No, there is a mens rea. What was her intent? Or was she reckless? Or was she, there's different types of mens rea. But the point is the mental element has always been there and it will continue to be there. There has been no change. Now, here's the irony of it. Alric needs to explain himself on this because, in fact, what the legislation has done and the main reason for the changes, and they're just, sorry, my apologies. And, you know, they're just trying to, while they're in there amending it, like, okay, let's just make this more common language, let's fix it. The main reason for the change in that section is to increase the penalty for those offenses. It's funny that he never really said that in his article, did he?
How much was it increased to?
One went up by, hold on. Oh gosh, Denny. Hold on now. Let me see if I can find it. Kevin, bring yourself in, honey child. Give me 1 second, Denny. I might have it here on my desk. In one case, I think it went from 3 to 5 years. In another case, it was doubled. But give me 1 second. Kevin, just talk until I can grab my paperwork.
No problem. Everyone's having a great day. Over in the beautiful Cayman Islands. I was there recently, actually, was visiting.
Oh, yes, honey child. I'm back. Here we go. I'm back. All right. Because I'm going to sit down here and say time. Yeah, I know. I knew I had it here in my desk full of papers, child. All right. So here we go. Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill. And like I said, I'm going to replay that because interesting that you guys missed it, but it was the same day that we did the interview on the national ID. All right, so here we go, folks. Section 7 of the Anti-Corruption Bill 2022. Repeal and substitution of Section 17, abuse of office. So the first section, which is a public officer or member of parliament who intentionally does or directs to be done in abuse of the authority of his or her office, any arbitrary act prejudicial to the rights of another person, commits an offense, is liable to 4 years. That section was previously, I want to say, 2 years, and it's gone to 4 years. And then the subsection 2, which is purposes of a loan, reward, and so on, went from 3 years to 5 years. So it actually increased the penalty, and that is the reason why this legislation is being amended. Because believe me, when I tell you, I would take real offense to this government under the leadership of the premier, who has made it a point. What does the PAC stand for? Talking about accountability. If he was attempting to water down this legislation in any way, shape, or form, I can tell you, I'd be holding his little chubby behind to the fire. And I don't mean any insult by that, but I'm just saying, that it is, mine shall be too, and that's okay. It is what it is. Okay? He would not be getting a pass. And I don't know why Alric has gotten this wrong. I know that he doesn't do criminal law, and he's not really familiar with the criminal law system. I mean, I saw him in court the other day for the first time ever. He was watching the Miss Cayman case. And I think that, this is just an example of how you might be a lawyer, but you don't necessarily know anything about the criminal legal system. But this could have been easily avoided by simply speaking to a criminal lawyer. And
what about the amendments about scandalizing the court?
I don't even know. Well, I haven't looked closely at that, but I think we can certainly have.
Because you see, there's about 7 bills that are just going to be presented tomorrow, right?
Oh,
but what public scrutiny has taken place about that?
Well, I mean, obviously you have people trying to publicly scrutinize it, but they're getting it wrong. So that's a problem, in my opinion.
Well, so then how will the public know whether they want the government to support these bills, to enact these bills or not?
Well, I think the public has a responsibility. How many of you have actually picked up the legislation in relation to this?
I have, but you're telling me I don't understand it because I'm not a lawyer.
Well, I'm telling you that you don't understand it because no. I'm not telling you that you understand it because you're not a lawyer. Hold on. No. Hear me now. A lawyer also didn't understand it. So that's not what I said to you.
Okay.
Get it
what
straight.
do you say to me?
I'm just saying you don't understand it because maybe your understanding was based on what you wrote or read from Alric. I don't know where you got that from. Right? Alric is a lawyer and he still didn't understand it. So being a lawyer doesn't mean that you understand something. If it's wrong and you've just gotten it wrong, then it's wrong. It doesn't make a difference if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, if you're.
I get that point, but part of what should be happening is that there should be public discussions in which there are opportunities for lawyers to come on and talk. Yeah, because that's not happening. So how do we actually know whether we want the government to support any of these bills tomorrow?
Listen to me.
That's my point.
Yes, and I agree 100% that there should be, and we can talk about this a little bit tomorrow ahead of these bills. But I think that there should be a much more in-depth analysis of these, and the government has a job to do as it relates to explaining these changes and what's coming down the pipeline, the why and the how and all that kind of stuff. So in an unusual moment, I did sit down with the premier and interview him in relation to this. And, he was willing to take the time. Kevin, I kind of feel like that's the interview that we should lead with now that Denny has brought this up. Let me see how quickly I can find it. But I do believe that that is exactly what needs to happen. So without a doubt, the legislators, they're busy along with the drafters and so on, trying to get all this information together. But the real crux of it is if the people do not understand, then it's kind of like, what difference does it make? If the people are clueless, the people are clueless.
Well, the difference that it makes is that it will have a real and persistent impact
this is what I'm saying.
Right.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with you 1,000%.
On a completely different subject. Doctors Hospital have a billing problem. Okay. They seem to think that when you present them with an insurance card, it's okay to just not collect from the insurance and then come back afterwards, way down the line to say, oh, by the way, we need you to pay us.
Yeah. Oh my.
Well, if I went to the hospital and I gave the insurance, thinking, okay, the insurance is going to pay for it. You think that I would go and do a procedure if I felt that the insurance wasn't going to pay for it? So when you take a position that you're not going to take responsibility for the fact that you messed up and you didn't collect, then coming way down the line, long past the 6 months that's prescribed in the law, you can't do that. And it's wrong to do that.
All right.
And
let me say this, Denny. I think that I'm hoping the powers that be over at Doctors Hospital, Dr. Rado and others are paying attention this morning, because even Dazita said Doctors Hospital charged her $57 for masks and gloves that they wear during COVID-19 testing for a simple visit I made there to drop off a sample. I have other people on WhatsApp saying I have a bill from 2011 from Doctors Hospital and I ain't paying it. So I do think that they need a little bit of help in the PR department. Unfortunately, that's not my job, and hopefully they have someone who can do that.
No, not PR. The AR department.
Yes.
I think it's a combination of both, Denny, PR and AR.
Yeah.
Ali says, speak it, Denny. They charge people.
But if you deal with the AR department, you won't have to have a problem in the PR department.
Wow. Maybe, unless you're going around lying about a fight didn't happen or somebody did assault somebody. Anyway, leave me there.
All right.
Thank you, Denny. Appreciate it. So I do really have to go because I want to get in. I have an 11 o'clock business meeting, and I want to get in on the trial, which I missed yesterday, but I have all the notes from it. So we're going to put together a Tiffany story later on. But we want to be there and be present today. So what I'll do is, Kevin, I'll let you. I'm going to pull in the interview from Premier Panton. Can you pull it back out when it's done, or do I have to be here for that?
I should be. Once you have it down there, I see it below, so I should be able to play it, and then I will end the show with that.
All right, folks. So it's really, really, really important that when we put information out there, and I've said this before, Alric is my friend, but even your friends get it wrong, and you have to be capable of telling them once they've gotten it wrong. Alric missed the mark on this. The headline was very, very inflammatory in the sense that it basically said that the government is trying to, make it harder to convict MPs, and that it's not true at all. In fact, they're making sure that if an MP abuse of public office carries a more stringent offense, in one instance, almost doubling the time, and the other one adding 2 years to the 3-year sentence. So in our effort to hold government accountable, we still do have a responsibility to make sure that we get it right. That's all I'm saying, because we're here every day trying to hold government accountable. Sometimes we mess up, but if we do mess up, we will be the first to come on and say, you know what? Our interpretation of the anti-corruption bill was wrong, right? We took no position on this because, like I said, I sit there in court all the time. So when I first saw the title, I don't traditionally read Loop, but when I saw the title, I thought, I don't think Alric got it. And then I digged a little bit deeper, and I immediately contacted the premier. He can tell you straight up. I said, sir, with all due respect, you're going to have to speak on this point. This is really, really important. The headline alone, because most people are not reading outside the headline, has confused people. And so the confusion, as we see, even Denny, and Denny is a smart cookie and all that kind of stuff, but it will confuse even the smartest people if you just read the headline and believe what you have read. So the headline said, Parliament, this was November 11th, to make it harder to convict MPs for abuse of public office. And that is not true. That's an incorrect statement. And what he relied upon is his interpretation of the fact that all of a sudden now they're using the term intentionally as opposed to what was there before. What was there before still required intent. Intent has always been there. Yeah? All right. Kevin, pull her up.
All right.
All right, folks, we're here with none other than the Honorable Premier Wayne Panton, who's going to speak to us about the Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill 2022 that is going to be coming to the floor of Parliament relatively shortly here in December. So good afternoon, Premier. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to spend with us.
Oh, good afternoon, and pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
All right, so we're recording this for the benefit of our viewers and the broader audience here in the Cayman Islands. Just kind of clarify a few things that have been circulating in the community in relation to what some people say are some very serious concerns about the Anti-Corruption Amendment Bill.
All right.
First of all, let's just get to the crux of what this is. There's a section in the existing piece of legislation, the existing act, which is a 2019 revision, that is Section 17, and it talks about abuse of office.
Right. So, Sandra, let's start with the memorandum of objects and reasons that accompanies every bill, as you know, since you're typically familiar with these.
Yes.
Particularly in relation to Section 17. The relevant clause of the bill says, Clause 7 repeals Section 17 of the Principal Act, meaning the existing Anti-Corruption Act,
yes,
2019 revision, and substitutes a new Section 17, which reclassifies the offense of abuse of office as an indictable offense and increases the penalty attached to the offense.
Okay.
So what's really important there is that it is clearly saying what the relevant effective changes are, what the substantive changes are to Section 17. And you'll notice it doesn't say anything about changing the burden of proof or the standard of proof required. And what it does, what it specifically sets out, is that it is trying to change the change to Section 17 is requiring to increase, is attempting to increase the penalty attached to the offense. What that demonstrates is a commitment, an intention and a commitment to increase the level of punishment for someone who is found guilty of a commission of abuse of office. And that is quite contradictory to the comments and the statements that have been made in a couple of articles and obviously a number of comments online.
So let's break it down, because we've got different listeners. Some might be lawyers, some are non-lawyers, listen to the program. So when we talk about an indictable offense, first of all, it's important for the general public to understand exactly what that means. So that's a criminal offense in which the accused may be incarcerated for a period of 6 months or more. So those are the more, what we consider in law, the more serious offenses, if you will.
Yeah, so for the general public's sort of interest in for all intents and purposes, this really just means that you can, it's an offense which you end up in grand court,
right,
as opposed to summary court.
Yes.
And you have then the option as the defendant to ask for a judge alone trial or a jury trial.
And increasing the penalty. So where do you think the confusion has arisen?
Right. So let's just stick with increasing the penalties for a second.
Yes.
So the existing law, I think, has, let me just pull it up here just to be sure. I think Section 17 provides in Section 17(1) provides.
So it says summary conviction of imprisonment for a term
summary
of 2
conviction
years.
to imprisonment for a term of 2 years.
Right.
And then subsection 2, which is distinguished from 1 in the sense that that's in relation to a loan, reward, advantage, or other benefit. If you're convicted of that offense, the term there is 3 years.
3 years.
So it's 2 years for subsection 1, which is if a public officer or a member of the Parliament who does or directs to be done in abuse of the authority of his office an arbitrary act prejudicial to the rights of another. So if you do that and you commit an offense, it's liable, and you're liable on summary conviction to a term of 2 years. The second one is if you if in conducting that or carrying out that act, it is for the purpose of a loan, reward, advantage, or other benefit, then you also commit a separate offense, and it is liable on summary conviction for a term of 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, switching back to the bill itself, what this is trying to do by substituting Section 17, the new Section 17,
right,
is
so we go from 2 years to 4 years.
Changing it from 2 years to 4 years.
Yep.
Sorry, the first change really is making it on indictment.
Right.
So you go to Grand Court and you can, it's triable either way by a judge alone or by jury. And changing it to 4 years. So you're doubling the potential sentence
Yes.
for a conviction under that section, that subsection.
Right.
And then for subsection 2, it is the same indictable offense, and it changes the period from 3 years to a maximum of 5 years. So of course, when you make changes, when you propose changes to potential custodial sentences, what you are trying to do is largely trying to increase the deterrent factor. Increase the level of punishment,
right,
so that people will think twice about engaging in anything like that. So that's effectively what the new Section 17 does. Now, where's the controversy? The original bill, the original law, the original Section 17 required the prosecution to be able to prove that you intended to do this, right?
Right.
It didn't specifically say intentionally. When the bill was done, this current bill was done, and the legislative drafting we're going through it, they're reflecting the ever-evolving sort of legislative style, drafting style. And part of that is to increase the movement or the change to sort of everyday English so that people understand it better.
Exactly.
And that is the reason why you see a change in the inclusion of the reference to intentionally. Now that doesn't change what the obligation was on the prosecution previously. It is done as a drafting style change purely to make it more everyday English so that people have a better understanding.
So in an effort to modernize the legislation and update not just the very, very specific points about on indictment and increasing the term of imprisonment, they've used more modern language that some people have now incorrectly, is what you're saying, interpreted that to mean that there's some additional mental element, in law we call it mens rea, that is required for the act to have been committed. And you're saying that's completely incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no change. It's the same, the prosecution have the same obligation. What has changed is that these are now indictable offenses that are triable in Grand Court, either way, jury or judge, and the prison term, the maximum potential prison term, has doubled for Section 17(1), subsection 1, Section 17, subsection 1, and has gone from 3 years to 5 years for Section 17(2). So the deterrent factor has significantly increased. In other words, and in other language, we're seeking to effectively threaten stronger punishment for someone who is committing this sort of offense.
Right.
Now, in that context, that is entirely different. That reality is entirely different from what has been expressed in at least 2 articles that I've seen in our local media. One was on Loop, and another one was a Viewpoint on CNS, Cayman News Service. Now, the article in Loop does not talk about any other change. It simply attempts to represent that the government or Parliament's intention appears to be to make it harder for the prosecution to prove that particularly a member of Parliament has been guilty of an offence. It does not even recognize either the two real changes, which is the indictable offence and the increasing of the maximum sentence.
Yes, and
so
I think
increasing
that
the deterrent factor.
You know, I want to say this for the benefit of our listeners. When I read the article in Loop, the thing that stood out for me is this one sentence that says, by having to prove an MP's intent, the job of the Anti-Corruption Commission may now be harder. And I think this is a misunderstanding and perhaps a lack of understanding, really, in how the criminal justice system works. Because outside of strict liability offenses, which tend to be traffic-related offenses, and I sit in court almost on a weekly basis, all offenses, certainly the ones in Grand Court, there is a need to prove intent.
Right.
You know, even sometimes the terminology might say things about negligence, so the specific wording of the act might be a little bit different, but that is where the intent comes in. And then it's for the judge who is, you know, the expert on the law for the benefit of the jurors, if it's a jury situation, to define what in that specific act, what intent means, whether it's negligence, you know, intentionally does something, because every act might have a slightly different wording, seeking to defraud, and what does that mean? What's the actual intent that's required? So I found it interesting that maybe the writer of this article simply misunderstood from a criminal law perspective what is required to win a successful and prosecute a successful criminal case in any event. So to make it very, very clear, there is no intent to change any legal element as far as what is required for the prosecution to prove and be successful in a case of this nature.
Correct.
And the law does not reflect that at all.
Correct. So, I mean, it's, you know, I guess you could call it an amateur mistake.
Yeah.
I don't understand why, if you want to write an article like that, ask a criminal lawyer or ask someone who, you know, has a better understanding. But in a situation like this, you're absolutely right. You mentioned earlier the concept of strict liability. That has very little application. It's quite restricted in criminal law because, you know, the general concept of criminal law is that you must have, not only do you commit the act or the actus reus, but you must have the requisite intent or the mens rea in most cases. Now there are some examples of situations in which the Parliament and the courts have decided that that the issue is worthy of lowering that bar. So, you know, it ranges from the simple things like traffic offense, like speeding, for example. You don't have to prove that you intended to speed.
Right.
You just have to prove that you were speeding. Something more serious, more grave, like statutory rape. You know, those are the types of examples in which strict liability typically exists. Of course, it exists in other branches of law as well, in the law of tort. You don't have to prove intent in those areas as well, even though you know the impacts can be significant. But certainly in this case, there is no change to the burden of proof and what's required to be proved in terms of mens rea. What is intended, as we have clearly set out, is simply changing it to indictable offense, Grand Court, and increasing the sentence in both of these subsections. So, you know, I think it's very unfortunate when there's an attempt to mislead the public into feeling like that the very legislators that they elect to ensure that the law of the land reflects appropriate approaches to serious matters is there's an attempt to suggest that they're trying to look after themselves or look after their colleagues.
And the
anybody who knows me would understand that
I was just going to
I'm
say
the last person to turn to
Yes.
if you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to take the consequences.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that obviously, when you read a headline that says, Parliament to make it harder to convict MPs for abuse of public office, this would fly in the face of what you have stood for publicly as Premier of this government, and even, your ongoing attempts to hold parliamentarians and definitely your cabinet ministers much more responsible and accountable than they have ever been held before.
Yes, yes, that's correct. And of course, there may be people who will say, well, yes, you had some examples of some issues. Yeah. I didn't expect perfection. But I can say this. We did not have a code of conduct previously. So, of course, nobody can breach a code of conduct that doesn't exist.
Right.
Now we do have one. Now we're attempting to hold people in their conduct in accordance with the standards that should be expected. And I think that is the right approach to take. We're seeking to do the same thing in relation to Parliament, members of Parliament, and the Parliamentary Code of Conduct.
And where are we, just out of curiosity, with that?
Well, I can tell you that I have all members of government signed up to a Code of Conduct. Way back in March of this year, the Code of Conduct was circulated, the draft Code of Conduct was circulated to all members of Parliament. The only individuals that I had any response from and comments from, questions from, were members of government. I did not get any questions from any member of the opposition.
Okay.
I have gone ahead and I've had my colleagues and myself signed up to our version of the Code of Conduct that we're going to be proposing to Parliament. Now, I have given that version to the Attorney General because remember, the Attorney General and the Deputy Governor are ex officio members of Parliament as well. So it has provision for both of them to be bound by the same Code of Conduct. And the Attorney General is with the Attorney General right now.
Okay.
So I'm hoping to move that forward very quickly. But certainly in relation to this, I thought it was really important that the people of the country understand that your government is attempting to reflect changes to the law to assist in holding people more accountable, not to help to make it more difficult for them to be prosecuted for wrongdoing.
Okay.
And these changes, we don't actually just conjure these changes up from our own wish list. Changes like this actually come via conversations and discussion with the Anti-Corruption Commission, with the DPP's office, with the Attorney General's office, with legal drafting, and that is how, through a full consideration, that we end up with these provisions. And if what both articles seem to be saying is that the Anti-Corruption Commission, the members of the Anti-Corruption Commission, the members of legal drafting, the members of the Attorney General's chambers would all be deliberately trying to make it more difficult to prosecute some member of Parliament for wrongdoing. I would encourage them to speak out. If they think that that's where it came from, I mean, any of those offices I just spoke to, they can speak out. This provision, these changes have all come about as a result of a request from one or more of those offices to try to ensure that we have a stronger piece of legislation in place so that we can do a better job of holding people accountable and punishing wrongdoing in an appropriate, fair and balanced way.
Yeah. and ultimately stamping out corruption.
Absolutely.
Wherever it exists.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for clarifying this. I hope that it's a bit of useful information, again, for the general public to see that perhaps the author of those articles was just a little bit misguided. And really, you know, as Aunt Lotta used to say, making a hill out of a molehill. There's not much to it, folks. But it's important that it still is addressed because, you know, in the face of not addressing these things head on, sometimes that will fuel the fire a bit more. So thank you again. We appreciate the direct responses. We appreciate you going through the respective sections of the law and explaining exactly what is transpiring.
Anytime. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to respond.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Well, hopefully that clarified some things that Danny and others might have, and some of the articles out there that might have confused some folks. But we'll kind of wrap up the show by going to our new segments, and right after that, we'll just do the show close. But everyone have a beautiful day, stay safe, and hope everyone stay well and healthy. Hello, I'm Kevin Watler, and this is your CMR Daily Buzz. Armed robberies continue to rise, with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service responding to several more robberies over the last few days. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service said the public can expect increased foot patrols, high visibility mobile patrols, and intensified road enforcement operations as the RCIPS Holiday Safety Operation has commenced. 39-year-old Conrad Clint Mendoza was sentenced to 4 years in prison for molesting a teenage girl on several occasions. He shared a close relationship with the girl's family. Following concerns from the public regarding the National Identification Register, the Ministry of Investment, Innovation and Social Development has revealed changes will be made to the Identification Register Bill 2022 at the committee stage in Parliament next week. A milestone in Cayman's air travel was marked in October as Cayman Airways not only exceeded pre-pandemic numbers for both total passenger count and for passenger revenue, but also set new records for that month for the airline. Now for your CMR weather update is brought to you by WG Charters. Sunrise at 6:46. Lots of sunshine with breezy conditions is expected when the temperature is in the mid-80s and the humidity around 64% like the forecast calls for. It will feel like it's in the low 90s. Winds east-northeast at 15 to 25 miles per hour, and the sun sets at 5:46. At nighttime, the temperature falls to the high 70s. Looking forward, sunny conditions and the breezy conditions will go away by the end of the week. If you would like to know more on any of these stories, visit caymanmallroad.com or follow Cayman Mall Road on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. That's it for now on the Daily Buzz. Thank you for joining me. Please stay safe and God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.